even there? Is there a dog? Is he alone? Is he at the airport? Is he on a fucking bus? Is he on the plane? Is there a clicking noise? There's probably a clicking noise. Is this a clip show? I don't know if it's a clip show. It's a fucking show. Just listen, goddammit!
Hey, what's happening, Mike Smith, 40-year-old boy podcast, along with Dave. Hey, Dave.
Hello.
We're in the basement, folks. We're back in the basement, back in Illinois, back in Naperville, back on such and such circle, back on, I'm going to give your address out. That's what I'm going to do. Here's the GPS coordinates, folks.
Great.
Here's what you need to do if you want to. Well, look, all I got to do is say Naperville, and they're going to go. They're going to come to the city limits, and they're going to get up and walk up, and they're going to go, hey, where's that Mexican guy live? Boom, they know exactly where you live.
Live or work? Work, we got a bunch of them.
Yeah, live, we got to find out. Yeah, we know exactly where that dude is.
We know where he is.
It's because actually, when you pull up here on Blank Circle,
That's where I live.
there's actually a sign with a sombrero and an arrow. A sombrero arrow.
You're a half a mile from the Mexican. You are a quarter mile from the Mexican.
Tacos, 0.10 mile ahead. Just like photos, like and not even not even the words.
Like when you go to the zoo and there's a tiger.
Yeah, just
Like
that.
a cartoon tiger, like when you're a mile out of the zoo.
Yeah.
Then you get closer and it changes. It's a snake.
It's actually got the like the sombrero with the guy and his knees up under his chin.
Yes, the guy.
Yeah, that dude.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, you're slumbering constantly, all the time, sleeping. But you're staying frosty as well because you're waiting for the pitchforks to come to throw you out of this town.
Yes, I am.
You're very lucky you have the whitest wife of all time, so she's able to get you guys free passage between the suburbs out here.
Yeah. My kids look white for the most part, so I fit in.
Dude, Val, my godson Val, who you've all been introduced to through some of his promos and certainly through some photos, if you follow me on Facebook or Twitter. Not on Twitter. What am I twittering my godfather's photo?
My kid's doing on your Twitter account, you pervert.
Well, look, people want to know and people want to see, and they ask me, hey, man, whose life are you going to ruin next? And I'm like, here we go. Here's my target.
It's already begun.
Yes. But he is, so I just saw some photos of your trip to Arizona, and good on you getting back safely, I should say. Because
I was kind of worried. I never, I've been to Mexico, but not through Nogales before, so I was kind of like...
You know what's weird? I've been to Arizona, but I've never been to me.
No.
But Val is, I mean, dude, that dude's changing every day.
He's like David Naughton in American Werewolf in London.
He's getting stretchy.
Yeah, he the other day he goes, look at my hand. What happened to my hand? And he shows me his hand in that scene in American Werewolf in London. The hand does that stretchy thing.
Sure.
His hand looks like that. It went from like the base of the thumb to where the fingers start. It like grew right in front of my eyes. It was weird. And he put his hand up to mine, and it's really close to mine.
Really?
Yeah, and it's weird, man.
So he's like Mr. Fantastic, essentially. He's got that, or Mr. Fantastic. I don't even know why I did that. Why not?
What was the accent for?
Because he has Hispanic blood inside
I
of
see.
him.
Of his last name, he's Mr. Fan. Yeah.
I'm fixing all of that.
Yeah,
I'm staying in that vein.
Yeah, he's now taller than Ava, and he's getting closer to Kristen all the time.
Well, let me ask you, when you went through that, dude, because we all did that. We had the thing where we all crossed the fucking finish line from puberty into whatever we're doing now.
Puberty?
Yeah, I don't want to say adulthood because let's be honest, who are we talking about here?
You just mean boners.
Yeah. But when you actually started changing and shit started happening, like,
yeah.
Was it a big deal to you? Like, did you freak out where you're just like, holy God, I can't believe this is happening?
No, it was one of those weird things where I go, hey, I that's new.
Right.
You look down and you saw like hair and you're like,
yeah.
Like, whoa,
or all of a sudden, I had a tricep one day and I was like, where the fuck did that come from? I used to have these little pencil arms. I could reach into a vending machine and steal Cheetos. Now, fuck that. I got no bend.
No, my aunts and uncles would always go, the word they would say would fill out.
Ah, okay, yeah.
You're filling out. And I'm like, well, I didn't know what that meant until now. And I look back at pictures when I was 13, 14 years old. You get that little V, your lats kind of start to go out.
Exactly.
And you're all of a sudden, you're not like a little kid anymore. But I didn't, you look at yourself every day. You don't know.
Yeah, you go from butter knife to spatula in like an hour. And it's like, how the fuck did that change, man? Your whole body shape. Although I was always a fucking bulb of a turkey baster, so what the fuck do I know? I mean, I'm going to stay with this analogy of kitchen utensils for puberty. That's how I work it.
Or the cheese grater.
But I never even thought to myself, like, wow, look at my cock. Or, hey, look what's happening. Now, I do that a lot now, of course. But I mean, I didn't.
I think we
then.
always say, wow, look at my cock. I don't think any age has any.
Yeah, but not in any sort of changing thing. It was just like, yeah, that's there and it's awesome. But I do remember that because I mean the reason I ask is because like you say he notices his hand and he's like, man, look at this, look what the
Yeah,
fuck
that's the only
happened."
time he's ever gone, what the hell's going on?
Yeah,
Look at my hand. It's gotten weird. I got lines and shit on there.
yeah.
It was weird.
Jill's middle son Lane. We were out. I went to a party this weekend where I met Jill's parents for the first time. And it was so funny. She's just like she kept warning me. She's just like, you're gonna want to leave. Like you're just gonna want to leave. That once you go there, you don't. I mean, if you want to like bail on me, I totally understand. I'm like, dude.
Everyone says that to you before you meet any real people.
To me, Mike Schmidt.
Yes.
Oh.
No, that's true.
Yeah, I don't.
You spent a Thanksgiving with us, and I told you the same thing. I go, dude, you're going to hate it. It's regular people sitting around watching football with sweaters on.
And I tried, like I said, and I tell you, and I told Jill, I'm like, I had that too. I had a family. I had to go and sit down while somebody played the organ. You know what I mean? I had to do the same thing. Literally, I sat in the eighth, fucking seat, and I got the potatoes last. I mean, I've lived that life and done that thing. So I kept trying to assuage her because I think, and also she's nervous because I'm new. And
well, there's always a dynamic of bringing somebody new into a situation, but yours is a lot more intense because you have a show every week where you talk about all the stupid shit that happens in your life, and nobody wants to be on your list of stupid shit.
Yeah, but I don't think your 80-year-old dad is thinking about the dumb shit that her new boyfriend did. You know what I mean? Like she kept warning me. She's like,
well, people know you. They know you hate things like that. So
I gotta stop being like so knowable. I mean, because she does the same thing where she's like, well, I know that you don't do well at that. You don't do the.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, I'm an okay guy. I'm normal.
No,
and then it turns out I fall to pieces and fucking go bananas.
So it's right to warn you. It's somebody knows you very well and goes, look, I know you hate all these things. All the things you hate, we're going to be doing those.
We're going to do that for the entire afternoon.
You'd want a little bit of forewarning. You don't want that dropped on you.
Well, I told Jill, I go, look, if you're worried about me, you don't have to worry about me. I said, I'm not going to go do anything stupid. I'm not going to stick my dick in the mashed potatoes. I'm just going to go be nice to everybody. And because
stick my dick in the mashed potatoes.
Well, because I'm around forever. Like if I was some...
You're around forever
for her, for them. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm Jesus. I'm just gonna stigmata all over the turkey. Get the fuck out of my way. But I mean, I meant that
I am the light.
I'm. She and I are. That's the rest. She's my finish line. So I will be with her forever. So, if I was some 18-year-old sullen teen and she's bringing me home to meet her parents and maybe I might act out or I'd be a fucking dumb fuck or say something stupid or, grab a handful of jelly beans and eat them in front of, who knows what I would fucking do.
Yeah, I know.
But now I'm a grown man and an adult. And even though I don't like to be that a lot of the times, I'm capable of it when I have to do it. And I would never embarrass her. I would never put her in a weird, because half the time I think, and again, because I overthink fucking things, like, I read texts wrong and all that kind of bullshit. Well, I think that the more she's warning me about them, in reality, she's worried I'm going to do something dumb. So she's giving me that kind of,
I think that's possible.
Cone of silence or that cocoon of safety where she's like, all right, look, you're going to go there and they're going to do this. You're going to do that. So don't throw your wallet across the room when my dad gives you a nickname. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. And I'm just like, I'm totally cool with it. And I was also, but I didn't get mad that she was saying it to me. I was trying to assuage her feelings because she was nervous and I didn't want her to be nervous going over there. I mean, it's like, because I met everybody in one fell swoop. Her kids love me and I love her kids. They're great. But I haven't met I hadn't met her sisters and stuff because they're all far flung. They live in different places of the world. So I haven't been able to see them. When we drove to LA the first time my car was destroyed and we bought a car and drove across country.
I lost track of which car that was.
We stopped at her sister's house. She made a passing reference. She's like, hey, my sister lives here in Missouri. I said, where? She goes, she's literally lives like 5 miles from this where we're at. I go, we're going. She goes, yeah, but it's Tuesday morning, like at 9 o'clock. She's probably at work. I go, well, who cares? We'll put a note in the mailbox. It'll be fucking hysterical. And I went over there and we went and we knocked on the door and there was somebody there. It turned out to be her nephew. How'd you know it was her nephew?
Because I've heard this story a million times.
Yeah, I really told this fucking story?
No, I have no idea what you're saying.
Holy shit. What are you, a psychic?
Well, I knew it was a kid, so it had to be a niece or a nephew.
What if it was a burglar? What if it went to her house?
Why would the burglar answer the door?
It was a rapist.
Hello?
He was hiding in the bushes.
Have you heard the good news?
From the inside out? Holy shit.
Yes, I've heard the good news. I'm in here stealing it as we speak.
No, he went asked me if I knew the good news. That was his cover. I knocked on the door. He answered and he goes, hello, have you heard the good news? I'm like, I don't know who you are, but fill me in, stranger. But we went to her youngest sister's house and we dropped by and her nephew was there. And we only stayed for like 10 minutes and and it was interesting and fun, and we bailed. But I've never met them, so this was going to be my meeting everybody. And she kept warning me about her dad because her dad is like, he gives everybody nicknames, and he's like everybody, all the nieces, the nephews, everybody. There's like,
What a
she's
dick.
She's Gillio, and then there's Kale the Pale. Like all these people have nicknames. And it made me laugh because she's just like, to her, it's corny as fuck. Like because she's lived her whole life with it. She goes, he's done this my whole life. They know all of his phrases.
Yeah.
All of his, keep your eyes on the ball, look down, and focus. You know what I mean? Like he says all these things, all the same cliches all the time, dad stuff. So she's warning me, I'm going to, it's all going to happen. You're going to hear all of it.
You're going to make fun of it.
Yeah. But I didn't. I mean, I think
Not
it's,
there. You just wait till later when you come here.
Well, I'm not making fun of it. I'm really not.
You want to.
I do not. I truly don't, because you know why?
I do.
Basically, she was warning me that he's an 80-year-old man.
No, but what she's doing is trying to make sure you understand that it's going to be weird. Everybody's family is weird, and when you bring somebody else into it, you gotta like welcome them into weird.
But that's kind of what I'm getting to. Like, it wasn't weird. It's just family. You know what I mean? To me, I'm 48. If I was like 27, maybe then I'm just like, oh my God, what the fuck's going on here? If I was 47, maybe I'd be like, oh, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is this? But I'm 48, man. I'm all grown up now. I'm that guy. But like when I walked in, there's her brother-in-law. He's a little fast talker. He's that guy. You know what I mean?
I hate guys like that.
He's a salesman, and I literally, because she starts,
They just keep talking.
Oh my God, dude. He was like, and he, again, nice guy. They were all very nice, but he started with the, hey, and he immediately asked me, hey, what are you drinking? And I'm just like, it's funny, I don't drink. And he goes, you want a Bloody Mary? And I'm like, I think that's a drink. I'm not sure. And he goes, I'll give you a virgin Bloody Mary. And then of course they kneel to you because you're not drinking booze or whatever. And he's like, all right, I'll take that. Because I don't want to say no. And then he went and made it, and he's like, you want Tabasco in it? I go, do whatever you're going to do to me here, pal. Because I literally, I don't know what goes in it normally, so go ahead and take care of it. And then a virgin Bloody Mary is just it's like drinking a glass of gazpacho. I mean, it's all it fucking is, And then he brings me, there's a giant pickle in it. So I looked at him and his wife, and I go, hey, do I eat this pickle? And they go, yeah, of course. And I go, I don't know if that's some fucking ruse you guys run, and everybody who comes in the goddamn door, they give them, watch, let's see if this idiot eats the fucking pickle. I mean, I have no idea what you eat in the glass. I don't get a drink with food in it all the fucking time.
So you think they set you up with the pickle?
I didn't know. That's what I'm saying. But I like the concept of it.
I like the idea that you thought that they might be setting you up for the old pickle.
Yeah, if someone brought me a glass of tea with a fucking Twinkie in it, I'd be like,
why'd you eat the Twinkie?
Yeah, this dude's gonna totally eat that Twinkie. Like, because I don't know what the fucking custom is.
They'll laugh at you.
Yeah, like that new guy. They're just like, hey, dude, you guys want a Coke with an oyster in it? I'm like, what? I mean, I guess so if that's what you guys do. Yeah, it's briny. It's so great. You'll totally eat it.
You never heard of this before?
No fucking kidding. Hey, dude, here's some milk with an actual milk bone in it. Well, that's dog food, isn't it? Oh, come on, it's good. The milk, that's why it goes together. All right, I'll eat it. Chomp, chomp. Stupid. Before? So I didn't know. So I'm like, that's what I said. Hey, am I supposed to eat this pickle? And I literally, because Jill was kind of talking to her kids, or I would have asked her, hey, do I eat this fucking pickle? Because I didn't want to look like an idiot. Yeah. But instead I asked them, I go, hey, do I eat the pickle? And they were just like, well, yeah, sure. And I go, all right. I didn't want to know. I don't know if there's this weird prank. And it's like the first time the guy shows up, he has to eat the pickle, and everybody laughs at him. And they laughed, thankfully, because they got it. You know what I mean?
Eat the pickle. What an asshole.
Right. I don't know if they could be having that conversation now. I have no idea. But you know what's funny?
The pickle.
Did not eat the pickle. Just because I still couldn't, even in my brain. And also, I don't want to eat a fucking pickle.
Tomato pickle?
Yeah, it's like it's all soaked in the Tabasco and ice, and like, fuck that, dude. But I drank it, and I'm holding it. It was in a little fucking highball glass with that drink ice. You know what that drink ice is?
Yeah.
Yeah, those little fucking weird like cubes. Yeah,
that are hollowed out a little
bit. Yeah, dude, fucking weird looking. And so I'm holding it. I got my legs crossed, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, what am I, Gore Vidal? Like, what the fuck's going on here?
That's why she has to warn you, because you got to do regular people.
I got sucked into it. It was so brutal. I'm sitting there. I got a button shirt on. I got my legs crossed. I'm holding a drink like Dave Allen at large. I'm like, oh man, what's happening? And Jill, even she kept looking at me, and she put her hand on my knee, and she's like, I can't believe you're drinking that drink. And I'm like, well, they offered it. What am I going to do? Say no? And she's like, well, you just look so odd. And I'm like, of course I do.
You're the Continental.
Yeah, I was. Champagne.
Turn on the hi-fi.
Dude, where's the lava lamp? Let's kick that in and have a real party, goddammit. Dude, I'm going to throw it to Dave Brubeck in the corner. So fucking weird. So it was but it was that thing where you just go have a family day. Yeah. And we don't, usually Jill and I are hiding from the world, but then we got invited. This was his 80th birthday party. And, they made dinner, and we fucking sat around the table, and And then it was that thing where because they're getting to know me. They sort of just they've learned bits and pieces of me. So her dad, he starts asking me questions. He's like, "So what do you do out there?" And I told him I'm a comedian and a performer. And he's like, "Oh, okay." And it was just those things where, as you know me, I talk. So as I start to talk, I reveal more. And he's like, "Well, who have you worked with? You worked with any big names?" And I said, "Well, I've worked with Howie Mandel and Louis Anderson." And he's like, "Oh my God, Louis Anderson is like my favorite." And he had just seen him at the casino 3 weeks before, so we had something there to talk about. Yeah. And then Jill said, "Tell him your Jay Leno story." And he goes, "Jay Leno, do you know Jay Leno?" And I said, "Oh." I go, "Well, here's," and I told him the story when Jay called my house and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of some cool, weird acceptance thing where they went, "Oh, this guy's not just a jerk." You know what I mean? And I was able
There's a reason he's a jerk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm a professional jerk.
Yeah.
So, and then that happened. And then the kids, we had younger kids there, and they were asking me about, what I do. And have you ever been on a TV show? And I was like, I got lucky. I got in a movie right when I got to town, and they were like, "What is it?" And I said, "Basketball." And they go, "We've seen basketball like 100 times." They go, "I missed the free throw at the end when Trey does the Cartman voice to me." And they're like, "Oh my God, that's you?" And her nephew goes, "I got to take a picture of you and send it and show it to my friends." So then, as I was leaving,
I met Grunsky.
Yeah, exactly. So he takes a photo of me, and then we Google it and we YouTube the scene where you see me miss the free throw, and then they're asking about that, and I was so stupid because I wasn't trying to be that guy, but as I talked more,
it's just inevitable.
Because I did those things, I wasn't like, and then I did a movie, haha, and then I was on Malcolm in the Middle, but that came up because Jill's first celebrity sighting, other than people I know. We're in the airport leaving to go to, where the fuck did we go? San Francisco. And Frankie Muniz walks by. And
is it Munez?
He's your people. What do you say?
I don't know.
There's a Z in it. You got to know how to pronounce it better than I do.
I've heard it different ways.
I think it was Frankie Muniz. I don't know.
It was Munez.
I don't know. Well, yeah, it could be. But all I know, when I was shooting hoop with him at Block Party when we were filming, I didn't really get his.
You didn't go, "Hey, give me the ball, Muniz, right here."
No. Hit me. I'm open, Muniz. I'm open, Chief.
Yeah, give the Brock up, man.
I told that story about playing hoop with him because he's good, but like white television star good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he was like schooling all these little kids, and he's like shooting over them and all that. And
you L-doned him.
No, of course not. I didn't. I took a couple of shots because the ball it bounced over to me or whatever, and he was like, "Take a shot," and so I did. But I didn't even go near him. But then he walked to the airport, and I said, "Jill," I go, "There you go." I go, "That's Malcolm from Malcolm in the Middle." And she goes, "I don't know what that is." And I'm like, because she has no memory of anything except Napoleon Dynamite. That's it. It's the only thing she knows. And then he's walking through, and I go, "Honey, he's from Malcolm in the Middle, the television show that I did where I was Big Tony, and she just goes, "Oh,
you were on that show?"
Yeah, basically. And then she goes, "Oh, he was a little kid." And I go, "Well, not now, because he's got like almost like a gray beard for fuck's sake." But then that was funny sitting at the table with her, because when I mentioned Malcolm in the Middle, her nephew was like, "Oh my gosh," she goes, "Did you meet Bryan Cranston?" And I said, "Well," then I told the story about how basically Bryan Cranston, and I did this is the dumbest thing I did the whole party. I told the story about how I hit myself in the chest, and Bryan Cranston went, "That's like the greatest thing in the world." He goes, "Do that every take." And I said, "Okay." And then I actually hit myself in the chest at the dinner table. So it was like we were done eating. It was like we were over dessert and just eating. But I wanted to show them what it was. So
it's monkey hour.
Well, essentially, sure. Yeah. But then it was funny. Even after, Jill's just like, "Was that okay for you?" We're like, and I go, "Honey," I thought I did well. I talked to everybody. I was nice and friendly. And she goes, "Yeah, but there were some times at the kitchen table you just kind of zoned out." And I said, "Well, because other people get to talk too, honey. It's okay. Like, I gotta let because when her brother-in-law." I even said to her when we were sitting after he made me the drink and I sat down, and she's like, "He's exactly as advertised, isn't he?" And I'm like, I go, "Absolutely." I go, he just talks like a salesman." She goes, "Oh my God, he is a salesman." And I go, "Well, that's what he's doing. He's that guy. He's always got a line for something. He's always got this." And here's my favorite thing he did all day, Max, and you'll fucking crack up. He comes out and he's like, "Hey, how you like your steak? Who likes their steak?" He goes, "Hey, one guy wanted it well," and I'm like, let's beat that guy to death. Yeah, and then he goes, he's like, "Medium rare, okay for you?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Jill, you still eat?" Because Jill doesn't drink anymore. I guess she used to, she'd have a Bloody Mary, but she'll have a beer occasionally now. So he's like, "Hey, you want a drink?" And she's like, I stopped drinking. And he's like, "When?" And she goes, "I don't know, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago." He goes, "You quit drinking, huh?" He goes, "Did you do the program?" She goes, "Well," and it's like, she didn't have a fucking problem. No, she just doesn't drink like she used to drink. So you're getting older. Maybe you realize, hey, maybe I don't want a fucking Bloody Mary. I'll have a beer or a fucking glass of wine, but that's it. But then he asked me, he's like, you drink? And I go, no, I don't. I'm not a drinker. And he goes, well, how long you been sober? And I'm like, 48 years. I go, I just never fucking picked it up. I said, I chose food, dude. That was my thing. But it's that thing where, because it's Wisconsin, so if you don't drink, everybody looks at you like you're fucking bananas.
Yeah, you're a recovering alcoholic.
Yeah. But, and the whole reason I got to telling this story is because her oldest son, her middle son was there, Lane, and he is growing mutton chops. Like he has
in the backyard.
Yeah, he's got him on. He's got him on a
garden.
Tree. Yeah, he's got him on a tree. Like, you know where they grow that fake penis on a guy's arm? He's got fake mutton chops on an oak tree in the backyard.
He's gonna have it transferred over.
Yeah, he's gonna put those on his face eventually.
They're ready. They're bushy.
So he's got those, and she said to him, she's like, "What's going on with this facial hair?" And he goes, "What?" And she's like, hey, "What are you doing here?"
Nothing.
Well, because that's who he is, dude. Yeah. He is like, he's a dude who, if he had his druthers, he would just go into the woods on January 1st, and then he might come out for his birthday and maybe for Christmas. Yeah. But he would just eat deer and fucking 4-leaf clovers. Like, that's all he would do. He would hide in the woods and shoot things because he just loves it. He loves that. He loves the outdoors. He loves everything about it. So he's got his hair's down past his shoulders now, and he has these like mutton chops. She's like, "What are you doing with that facial hair?" And he's just like, "What?" And she's like, "I think it's out of control. I think you might want to take some stock in that and get it taken care of." And there's a beat, and I looked at him and I go, "Don't you dare shave it." And he laughed, and I go, when I was a kid, and I could grow facial hair. Oh Jesus, dude, it was ridiculous. I looked like someone from Lord of the Rings that you would get you a drink at a bar. You know what I mean? Like,
you worked at the Prancing Pony.
Exactly. I looked like one of those dudes, which is like, I looked like a warlock. Like, I mean, I just had that fucking hair because I let it grow. I mean, I might have had, it might have been like an inch long or an inch and a half long, and I grew it all the way down my face. It wouldn't grow on my face because I'm fat, but it just grew on my neck. So I had that neck sweater that was fucking horrific, but I let it grow because I was so enamored with the fact that all of a sudden I could grow stuff and
on my face.
Yeah, and then combine that with the fact that I had no father to teach me how to shave. So I didn't trust myself to put a sharp implement against my head and figure out what the fuck to do.
So you decided to work on the Jack the Ripper case?
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah. You had a Cockney accent all through freshman year.
I called Professor X, asked if I could live in the fucking the mansion for a while, because I mean that's what it was that Wolverine fucking crazy neck beard nastiness. So that's why we talk about puberty. Like, I didn't even when I started growing shit, I'm like, all right, this is awesome. This shit's gonna grow all over the place. I'm gonna let it happen. Not even gonna stop it.
No, well, I didn't get hairy, so I mean, I had no good hair stories.
Did your dad teach you to shave?
Kinda, yeah. I didn't really have to. I know facial hair is not a big thing. I mean, Mexicans have a big mustache. But you don't get that till you're like 50.
Right.
But,
oh my God,
no.
really? It just waits. All of a sudden you wake up one day and you got it?
I guess.
Then you look like Mickey Dolenz chewing a tea bag?
I think we have Indian in our family.
Like,
we're hairless.
Like, woo, 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 woo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, I know we do. We have Mexican Indian. Yaqui Indian.
Yaqui.
Yeah. So we're not hairy. We're not a hairy folk. At least in my family.
But why is that? Why aren't Indians hairy?
I don't know. The white man took their follicles.
Well, could be it. Yeah, maybe those blankets did that. So the white man could see them easier. They couldn't hide amongst the buffalo. They were like, "Hey, just do me a favor. Shoot anything that's not furry."
They took our buffalo, and they took our hair, and took our beards.
The white man came and left us smooth and easy to find. And they would flush them out, and then they would just be like mole, like hairy. Yeah. Oh, terrible. So yeah, so I went to that party and it was fun. I met everybody and I had a really great time. And then even when we left, Joe was just like, "If you want to leave now, I know you want to like bail." And I'm just like, I go, "Honey, that was fine. It was a family gathering. We used to do that shit all the time. I mean, her dad is no different than my Uncle John feeding 8-year-olds blue cheese.
Here, taste this.
Yeah, and then watching their face, like, exactly, and laughing his ass off.
Eat the pickle.
Exactly. But yeah, like her kids, they're growing their hair long and all that stuff, and she's just like, "Boy, they were never like this before." And I'm like, I go, that's what they should do, though, man. You should be growing everything. You should. That's all you got to do is just fucking grow everything you fucking got. Hey, by the way, I want to tell you this because I went to I had my taxes done. My friend KC who is a fan of this show, and she does my preparation of taxes. Oh, not the official preparation. She does all my QuickBooks and gets them reconnoitered or whatever the fucking word is, or I forget there's a word. But she wrote me, and she told me how much it was going to cost, and she goes, "But I will knock $25 off of it if you promise to stop going to McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts." And,
Were there a lot of receipts for that?
Oh yeah, because in my business account. Well, when I
Your business account.
I have a business account, so when I travel, I have to pay for gas. I have to pay for everything with my business account because
When you go see Rick Springfield, that's a business account.
I didn't say that.
Oh.
What? I don't know why.
Because
you're
that's when
making
you
that
stop.
presumption.
That's when you stop at McDonald's on the way there.
No, I stop at McDonald's on the way here because whenever I'm driving 200
here.
miles,
Oh, I see. This
That's-
is considered a.
this
I
is
get ya.
business. Yeah,
This is business.
yeah, the worst kind of business.
That cracks me up.
Well, this is monkey business. You can write it off. So I will get a fucking breakfast burrito and a hash brown, and then I get you a coffee, and I get
And then
myself.
yourself 18 donuts.
18 seems high.
I'm sorry. 3.
Yeah, I had 3 today, but I didn't eat them all. I was proud of myself. I threw one of them away. That's smart too, by the way.
Yeah,
You spent it
save
down.
that receipt. She's gonna love that one. Look, I know I bought all this, but I didn't eat any of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. I'll thank her to keep her nose out of my fucking business,
Hey.
quite frankly. I mean, hey, you can do my taxes, but you're not my fucking doctor. I mean, who the fuck are you? You know, call my fucking physician and go, hey, I was doing his taxes and I noticed that he's spending a lot of times at Dunkin' Donuts and McDonald's, and then fucking Dr. Bahadori's going to go, hey, dude, what's your problem? Dr. Bahadori laughs at me because it's like, he's my guy, my doctor.
Your primary care physician.
Indeed, my PCP. And he's like kind of a real gentle guy, and I'm kind of what's the word I would use?
Jerk.
Maybe.
Okay.
But I don't. When I all right, here's because
You don't listen to the doctors.
Well, no, bullshit. No, what I mean is I talk in a rough fashion. I
Oh,
don't
I see
really
what
fa-
you're saying.
Yeah, because he'll be like, well, it's nice to see you. I hope things are going and progressing well for you. And I'll be like, yeah, it's everything's been fucking pretty good. And my girl and I, because I sometimes I lose myself a little bit. I'm so used to just saying what I want to say that I didn't do it at Jill's parents. I mean, I know how to rein myself the fuck
you
in.
didn't swear a lot.
No, yeah, but I mean, at Dr. Bahadori's, I'll talk, and where were we? It just happened where Jill looked at me and she's like, "Why would you say something like that?"
You're at church.
Yeah, right. She's not even close. She went to Easter. It's funny. Easter morning, I said I was going to take her to work, and she kissed me that morning. She goes, "Honey, you just stay in bed." She has to work. She has to leave for work at 3:15 in the morning. So she's like, "Honey, you just stay here. It's fine, and I'll come home." And I go, "Oh, all right, honey, I love you." She drives to work, and then on Facebook she posts a photo from like the sunrise service for Jesus and Easter, and it's from the Bluff. They do an outdoor thing, and she goes every year. And I saw the picture, and I was kind of like, "Oh man, I thought she was doing a nice thing to get me to sleep, but she just didn't want me to bring her to her fucking church because she doesn't know what the fuck I'm going to do there, probably." Or maybe Jesus called her the night before, and he went, "You know what? Leave that fucking dude at home." Yeah.
A little iffy on that one.
So, here's what it was. Because I forget a couple weeks ago, I said in front of somebody, I was like, "Yeah," I said, "Oh, I'm going to fucking stab somebody." And they looked at me like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, well, I'm not really going to stab somebody. It's hyperbole. But you're used to speaking like that, so you don't think twice about it. Well, sure, but everybody does talk like that.
No.
They should. It's liberating. So here's the thing. We get on the plane to San Francisco, and I have to admit, upon further review, yes, this was not the thing to say. But when I get on the plane, usually it's like I'll just, when the stewardess is with me and she'll look at me and I'll just go, "Jim, I told you from the fucking doors." That thing where they'll just look at you, and I'll just get that thing where you're looking at the camera. But this time we get in and there's a pilot, and he's standing there and he's with the fucking the flight stewardess, that dude.
The first officer, or in the cockpit, or
There's a pilot in the cockpit.
There's two. There should be two.
Well, the one dude is out greeting everybody because he's like bored. Maybe he's fighting with the other guy. I don't know. Maybe they had a couple spat.
He's mad he didn't get to drive.
Exactly. So he's going out and seeing who's in the fucking plane. So we're walking in, and Jill comes in. And he's like, "Hi." He says hi to her, and he says hi to me. And she's wearing her Brewers shirt, and I'm wearing a Phillies shirt because we're going to a baseball game. And he goes, "Hey, you guys going to the game today? Because we're going to San Francisco, and the Giants were in town as well as the A's." And we said, "Yeah, we're going." And he's like, "Oh," he goes, "My Padres this weekend." Now, if you don't know about the Padres, they opened the season against the Dodgers, and they're the first team in modern Major League Baseball history to be shut out in their first 3 games.
Yeah,
they were outscored 25-0 in 3 games. I mean, it was just a fucking destruction. So he goes, "Oh, my Padres." I go, "Dude, that's rough." And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "That's actually a record." I go, 3 shutouts in a row. And he goes, "Yeah, I don't even want to." And I go, "Outscored 25-0. He goes, "Oh, it's terrible." He goes, I know you've lost 3 in a row, but it's not like we lost 3 in a row. And he goes, "And even at home, we lost 3 games in a row. It just doesn't bode well when your first 3 games of the season are that." I go, and he goes, I said, "Yeah, no." I said, "Hopefully you don't think about it while you're in the cockpit and put the plane in the drink."
What the hell is wrong with you.
Well, I didn't mean it like that, really.
I know that.
And he looked at me, and there's this beat, and he gets deadly serious in his face, and he goes, "What?" And Jill goes, "Honey," and she goes to like pull me down the aisle. And I, of course, double down on it because I don't even, I'm not even thinking that it's a thing. I go, well, no. I go, but that's a rough, that's a rough 3 games. That's a 3-game stretch. You start thinking about that in midair, and the next thing you know, you're just like so depressed about it, we go down.
What the fuck, dude?
And he goes,
that's not something to joke about.
exactly. We shouldn't even, we can't even joke about that, sir. And I go, oh, no, I go, I understand. And Jill's like pulling me away. And
You're making it worse.
And he just goes, it's baseball, sir. He called me sir. It's baseball, sir. To even equate it to something like this is, and I go, I understand. Okay, great. And I turn around and she's not even looking at me at this point. Now she's just like up the aisle.
Yeah.
And I'm walking and she's looking at me.
No,
She
I know
goes,
that feeling.
and she goes, why would you even say that to him? And I go, well, I mean, that was being funny. I go, and I go, anytime
To
I can,
you.
I said, anytime I can use the phrase into the drink, I'm going to do it. It's
Yeah.
just, it's funny to me. And she just goes, because we have this thing where, she's not used to that. I mean, I don't know.
Inappropriateness and bad
That wasn't
decision making.
inappropriate.
Yeah,
it was. It may
Look.
have been something I shouldn't have said.
Yes.
I get that, but it wasn't like with malice.
Yeah, but
There were no
the fact
sinister
that,
undertones.
I'm not the guy to talk to about this. Because I mean, that's the reason I told you. But way back when we were first couple episodes where we were doing this, when I said we go to the grocery store, I just walk away from you because I'm like, I don't really want to be a part of deli talk with Mike Schmidt.
I don't talk to everybody all the time.
But when I do, I usually say something offensive.
It wasn't offensive.
To him, it was.
Well, okay to him, but fucking.
You can't dictate what somebody else is gonna find offensive.
I trust me. I'm dealing with that with Jill all the time. She's like, hey, you can't tell
Look,
me how I
personally,
feel.
I think it's hysterical. I would never have said that, but I think it's hysterical.
She's so
What you
deathly.
said.
She's so frightened that I'm gonna say the wrong thing or whatever.
I wonder why.
Well, but I mean, it's not. But no, the world doesn't end if you do something like that. If you put your foot in your mouth or whatever, you do
it's
something,
not-
and nothing
no.
completely falls apart.
I understand that.
But she'll even say to me, she'll just go, I don't. Why did you? And honestly, it's my problem because she'll be like, I don't know why you would even think to say that, and then I get upset because I'm like, well, look, I'm not a fucking moron. I go, I've talked to people my entire life. I know how to speak to people. But I'm a little glib sometimes, and yeah, sometimes I'll cross over because she'll say at the end of a conversation when we walk away, she'll go, you made that person uncomfortable, and I go, no, I didn't. I go, I was being funny, and I can tell. I can read people. I'll know when I go too far because I do it. Believe me, I've gone too fucking far, and I knew on the plane that went too far. I knew it was. I shouldn't have said that, but I didn't come at it like I said. I wasn't saying it with malice. It was just, to me, it was just a silly joke.
Yeah, I get it.
You don't agree, but you get.
No, I completely disagree, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah, basically, I just want the world to conform to me and all
That's
the things
kind of
that I
what-
want
yeah.
to do. Yeah, no, I understand there are social mores, and like I said, when I went to her parents' house, I had a great time. I had fun talking to everybody, and we had a really good meal, and everything was cool, and we left, and there was no fucking international incident, and maybe they'll want to see me again, and maybe they approve of me, and they hope that I'm good to her daughter for the rest of her life and all that. I don't know. Maybe because I didn't do anything. I didn't lay any bombs anywhere that were going to explode. But as it was going on at the time, I was just, I was hoping that she wasn't palpably tense about me doing something. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know if that was. I didn't know if that was a Jedi mind trick where she was like, you're going to think this, you're going to think that, but in reality, she's just going, oh my God, please don't say anything to my 80-year-old dad. You know what I mean? So.
Well, because she knows you.
Well, sure.
So yeah, she was probably on guard the whole time.
Yeah, she may have been a little on edge.
Like everybody is.
Oh my God, that doesn't sound good at all.
Well,
Everybody, I put everybody on edge. I don't want to put everybody on edge.
No, I shouldn't be so. What's the word? Mean. But I mean, I knew. The only thing I have to compare it to is a few years back, you came to our house for Thanksgiving. And we had a small gathering at my house of just old people, aunts and uncles. And I remember thinking, oh man, I hope I doesn't do something stupid. And I hope he understands that this is going to be boring. That same thing that she probably felt.
Literally, you're feeling the exact same thing she felt.
Yes.
Because that was what she kept telling me. She's just like, honey, I don't even know why you want to go to this. It's going to be so boring. It's going to be
because you're an open book. You're an open book because you have a show. You basically told everybody what you hate, what you don't hate, what you like, and things that you've talked about on the show where you've gone through something and then you later on you talk about it, and you make fun of it. Now it's our turn. We got to take that person into our social circle and hope that they're having fun so they don't do the same thing. I'm just saying maybe that's how she was feeling.
Holy Jesus! I gotta just fucking get a sarcophagus and climb in it and hide. I gotta just do that.
Yeah, get one of them. What is it?
That's like a tomb.
Oh yeah, tomb sarcophagus.
Like it's where mummies live. it's a box of mummy comes.
No,
in.
it's not. It's not that it's bad. It's like any person that's even like say a celebrity that does not another comic whose bit is to complain about his family. Well, if you're going to take him to a family function, what do you think's going to happen?
Yeah,
you got to be kind of like, hey, this is my uncle. He's old. Cut him some slack.
I guess it's my own fault. I've fomented this image of a guy who kind of is a fucking ticking time bomb and ready to explode. Like I said, like I always said, I'll get mad and yell at a sink.
Kind of, yeah. That's what I mean. It's not like she's. I think anybody else in that situation would feel the same way. I think if a listener was to take you home to their house, they would say, hey. You're probably going to find my family boring, and
right.
Try not to make fun of my Uncle Earl. He doesn't have a leg, and because
I zero in on Earl the second I walk in the door.
I would too.
What's up, Hop Along?
Yeah, see?
Yeah, sure. Hey, Peg. You thought his name was Earl? That's Uncle Peg. Yeah. So I was proud of myself because I hoped that we got
you
through it
acted
okay.
like a normal person and you got through a social. Yeah.
And she didn't. Oh my God, poor Jill. Like, because we went. We go to do things on the weekend, but she doesn't sleep, man, because she's got all this. And that's one of the reasons, like when I didn't make it to Dennis's party, it was our buddy Evil Dennis had his 50th birthday party, and Jill had only had an hour of sleep, and so I wasn't even going to say to her, hey, honey, let's go down to Chicago because we had gone out Friday night. Oh, I should tell you this fucking story. We went out Friday night to see a band, and all right, this gets to what we're talking about a little bit, about me saying things and doing things I probably shouldn't do or whatever the fuck. And I find myself, I don't want to go places. I mean, I want to go places, but I've had this problem for a while now where I don't want to go because I keep waiting for the bad thing to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what's inside me. And I think you have a little bit of that inside you as well.
It's social anxiety.
Yeah.
It's based out of fear. Going back to when we were cavemen, fight or flight, you constantly have to be on guard for something and there's no reason to be. You project things into situations that aren't there.
Well, like I said, when she and I went to Fish Day a couple years ago and that dude came up and he just wouldn't let her, he took her hand and he wouldn't let it go and he kissed her hand. And I mean, in my head, I'm just like, well, I'm going to have to bust this guy's jaw. I mean, I'm just going to fucking have to. Yeah. And it seems to happen a lot around, because I told you guys will mac on her right in front of me and I'm just kind of like, ugh. And it's not that I think she's going to run away and leave with them, but it's just the whole, like, I start to spin off into just the very fact that you would do that in front of me shows me you have no respect for me. And I want to fucking just crush you at this point. I want to break all your fucking ribs and I want to do bad things. I'm going to put you on a plane and put you into the drink. That's what I want to do.
So you're never comfortable. You're never comfortable and you're never in the moment. Well, you can't be in the moment because you're constantly distracted by the what ifs and the
I'm on
who's
guard.
That guy and what's this and you realize after some point that that's what you got to get rid of.
Yeah,
because that's what's causing the anxiety.
Well, we can go to movies and we can go do those things because we're kind of like self-contained or whatever. But a concert is let's put it this way: a general admission concert is different. I know that sounds weird, but I really wanted to go. All right, so she found you're gonna be prepared to check out for the next fucking 15 minutes.
Oh, I've been checked out, dude. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Oh, I was talking about your uncle and the guy with one leg.
Yeah, I don't know.
So she found tickets to a band called Hairball.
Hairball?
Hairball.
Oh.
She sent me the screenshot, and she's just like, honey.
Is it a tribute to somebody?
Everybody.
Everybody with hair?
It's literally a tribute to 80s
hair band. It's a hair metal cover band.
But you know what? But yes, but all of it. Like I'll when I tell you about it, you'll hear about it. They don't just do the songs. Like, because we have this out in LA. We have a band called Steel Panther, and they're basically like a fake fucking metal band.
Yeah.
And it started out where they would do like the old songs, And then they started to mix in their own songs. Then they recorded an album. Then they actually went out and opened like for Judas Priest and stuff, where people were like starting to buy Steel Panther's music because it was Ralph from the Atomic Punks, which was the Van Halen tribute band, and Ralph sounded just like fucking Dave, and he was amazing. So then they started doing the Steel Panther shtick, and they started to sell out like the House of Blues. You know, they get 2,000 people, and they got a following because they were doing old like 80s style metal. And then they started to write fucking essentially parody songs about that. You know what I mean? Like it was Spinal Tap-esque. They'd write that kind of music about girls and cars and all the same. They'd write the same shit. And it was basically they were doing an Autograph album, the band Autograph, but it was like they were doing it under the guise of parody, but in reality, all they were doing was just singing that same type of lyric that was a hit back in the 80s. So Hairball is a little different. Like they're a tribute band because I've seen tribute bands. I saw the tribute to Queen. I saw them. I saw a Scorpions tribute band. I've seen a Queensryche tribute band. I've seen the Van Halen tribute bands. We saw the Kiss tribute band. We saw Strutter, right? Didn't you go downtown with us for that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we were up in the balcony, and all of a sudden they come walking out of a bathroom in full costume.
Yeah,
that was the fucking best.
That's when the illusion is ruined.
Yeah, it was Strutter, and it was like, you know, because I talked about that. It's like, you know, regardless of, you know, it's Gene, Peter, Paul, and Ace, but when we saw him, it was like Ron, Brian, Steve, and Willie.
Let me get my wig on.
Yeah, and they come walking. But remember, they came walking out of the bathroom like, "Hey guys, how are you?" And it's Ace. Ace is talking to us. We're like, "That's not really Ace, but it looks like Ace. Fuck, it might as well be Ace."
Hey, Ace.
Yeah, it's like when Spider-Man comes up to you on the fucking street, and you're like, "I know that's not Spider-Man, but he's in a Spider-Man suit. He might be Spider-Man."
Yeah, I turn that off. I turn right off. It's like an Elvis impersonator. Get away from me. Just get away from me, Elvis impersonator. You're awful.
Where are you being accosted by Elvis?
I was at our friend Barb's 50th birthday party, and an Elvis impersonator came out, and he was awful. But everybody there acts like he's Elvis, and I was like, I can't do it. Fuck off.
Are you sure that wasn't Bob Wooten?
Pretty sure.
Because Bob or Marco Rodriguez could have been Marco Rodriguez.
No, I'm the only Mexican Elvis impersonator besides Elvis.
We went to high school with a guy named Marco Rodriguez, and this is so fucking great. We and Marco, I'm sure he's a lovely man. Well, I came to town a few years ago. I don't know. My buddy Jeff from the UN of Evil, Jeff, came, and he and I went to a Fridays. And we were just catching up, and there were some people there from Bolingbrook. I don't know if it was around a reunion or whatever the fuck it was, but it was some guys got together. So Marco shows up, and me and him and Jeff are talking. And, you know, Jeff is a guy who, he moved to Chicago. He got a great job, and he wound up starting another company, and he's done great things. Now he's got beautiful children. You know, he's like Max. He's got beautiful children, a lovely wife. He's got a family, and he's done great things for himself. So we're at this Fridays, and Jeff's done great things too. He's that, you know, and I don't mean to fucking, you know, invite me over to your house for Thanksgiving dinner, and I'll tell you all about the shit I did in a fucking awkward way. But I mean, at the time I was a touring comic. I was writing for shows. I had done stuff too. So we get buttonholed by fucking Marco Rodriguez. He puts us in a corner, and he starts talking about his job. And he's just like, "Oh man, I totally work for like this grain company," and because he went to Southern with Jeff for architecture. And then, you know, the same thing when they both graduated and went, "Hey, nobody wants our drawings of buildings. Let's do different things." So Jeff wound up working for a computer company, and then he wound up working for another internet company, and he did really well for himself. Well, Marco went and worked for, again, like he's like, "Hey, I sell buttons," or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like, "Hey, I don't know if you know, I traveled to state and I sell hats." So he's bragging about his fucking low-level entry job.
Just like, shut up.
Well, dude, he just went on, and Jeff and I are sitting there. And I don't
care.
You know, oh, it's so great. I get to travel all the time. Like, I was in Syracuse last week for a couple of days, and the next day I flew to Des Moines. And it's like, what the fuck? Is that supposed to impress me in any way at all? You take a plane for your fucking job? Get the fuck out of here, man. So he's talking to us, and we're just sitting there, and we're listening, and then he finally goes and he walks away to get a drink, and Jeff looks at me and he goes, "We got to get out of here." And I'm like, "Why?" And he goes, "Well, I have to hear one more fucking word about how that guy drove to Scranton to sell something. I'm going to fucking murder somebody." And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, dude, good. I feel the same way. Let's go." And so we did. We snuck the fuck out.
We snuck out.
Because Jeff's that guy who he wants nothing to do with any glory days, any high school, any of that bullshit at all. He's completely left it. He's severed all ties.
No, he hasn't.
What does that mean?
Dude, he's the instigator. He's still an instigator. He just doesn't want to hear anybody else's bullshit. He loves our bullshit.
Oh, our bullshit. Yeah, our bullshit.
Yeah, I'm just saying, the last two times I've seen him, he's been old Jeff. The NCAA championship football game, we all went out, and he went out with us, and it was the first time he'd been out with us for a while, and it was like it was 1985 again. It was really crazy. He was yelling. I mean, he was doing the thing. Come on! He does that thing where he just starts yelling.
He's the fucking coolest dude ever, dude. I mean,
yeah. And then this Dennis's part, which you were getting to, because you were talking about go seeing Hairball.
Well, we'll get to that.
It was the Friday before was at the Friday before Dennis's party.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at Dennis's party, his wife Sharon, she just looks at us like we're a couple of idiots, which is really funny.
Well, like we're spacemen.
Yes.
She totally looks at us like we're from another fucking planet.
When he started some conversation where we top each other, he's like, I caught an ocelot. Well, I caught a cougar.
I caught a wombat.
Something stupid. She goes,
yeah.
She'll just go, here we go.
Yep.
And then she just checks out.
Well, I talked about that on here before when there was, unfortunately, after your father's wake, when we had to go to Mongo McMichael's for the fucking thing. So then he and I sat at the table and we just kept doing ridiculous things.
And she just goes, here we go.
We're going to Nerland's Knowles, House of Pancakes. Just like all that. Yeah. And he even texted me shit where he's just like, we're going to Ben Johnson's House of... And Jill even was laughing. And Jill and Sharon are just like fucking like, oh my God. Because we wouldn't stop. And then I saw him, again, luckily Mr. B died. So I was able to go check. Yeah, I was able to see him, and we just picked the running joke up again at the fucking another wake. It was awesome.
I know.
So it's good to know that he's still doing that. I mean, because I'm, he does it with me on the phone, and I'll get him on, because I'll get him on the phone, and he'll do that thing where he'll bait me into saying something, and then I'll talk for 4 minutes and make fun of shit, and then he'll just go, oh, Michael, like, because he's the only one who calls me Michael in the fucking world. But then he would do that thing where we'd get, because remember we made fun of him. I called him the amorphous peg. I was like, he could just fit in any situation. He's just like, he'll look at the wives and he'll smile but none of them knew that he was the worst of all of us.
Yeah. The
worst of all of us. Punching dudes in the face and just, he'd hit Kip Durbin for no fucking reason and like all that kind of nonsense. Dude, it's awesome.
Yeah. I think that's the problem, is that we keep telling those stories over and over again, and that's where the wives go, I heard this 1,000 times, leave me alone.
Yeah, they don't realize how fucking hysterical it was.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. That's the problem with it, But I get that vibe, that weird, and so Jeff had it where it's just you
just got to get out of there.
Yeah, he was just like, man, I can't deal with this. We got to fucking get away from this guy. And I was like, all right, man, let's disappear into the night. I don't want to hear him tell one more fucking story about Roanoke.
Roanoke?
Seriously, just fucking wherever he'd been. He was acting like he was in this big shot. He was like, dude, you don't have a private plane. You're flying coach to everybody's fucking house to sell them string.
I'm going to guess that's probably 10 years out of high school.
You're Del Griffith. That's all you are. You're fucking shower curtain rings and a fat dude who like lost his wife, and you're drinking liquor bottles, and you're about to fucking hug me and put your cock in between my fucking ass cheeks. That's all you're doing. This whole conversation is me waking up with your cock between my ass cheeks. That's the uncomfortable level I've reached with you telling me about your fucking travels all over the goddamn world to bring somebody some fucking shower curtain rings. Nobody gives a fuck. Oh, hey, I sell oregano door to fucking door. What are you, Icky Woods? Get the fuck out of my face with your nonsense. I've done stand-up in front of Warren Beatty. Who the fuck do you think you are? Oh, here's another thing. I was supposed to be an architect and I failed at that. So now I go ahead and I sell clothespins. Well, boy, good luck in the third fucking world as people hang up their fucking 2017 Carolina Panthers Super Bowl champion shirts because they sent them over to fucking Nigeria because they didn't win the goddamn bowl. And they got to clad those people before they take a machete in the face from a warlord. You fucking clothespin selling hump. Nobody gives a fuck about you and your nonsense. You're in a Fridays. You're in a Fridays and you think you're in a good restaurant, I'm sure. I bet you're going to tell me how good the Jack Daniels chicken is right here. Oh, fuck you. Man, God, we hated him. We hated every moment of it. Now, I'm sure he's rebounded and he's a wonderful person and has a great family, but I don't give a fuck, man. I don't.
I'm guessing 10 years because his conversation reminds me of all the conversations I had at our 10-year reunion.
Yeah?
You were there.
Of course.
It was weird because at 28 you're still trying to pretend like you're somebody. You're like, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing that.
Well, I was pretending I was Cheryl Butchko.
You took somebody else's name tag.
Yeah, that's how stupid I am. I showed up for the 10th anniversary and I grabbed fucking Cheryl Butchko's name tag and I wore that around. So I guess I can relate to the pretending to be somebody you're not, except I was pretending to be somebody who wasn't even there.
which made me think she probably RSVP'd yes. They went through the trouble of making her name tag and she didn't show up. Or she got there and said, hey, my name's not here.
What's my name tag?
I'm leaving.
Dude, I caused a ripple effect. I caused an entire domino effect of the reunion, so everybody was somebody they weren't. Cheryl Butchko's walking around and he's like, man, Don Klima fucking changed. What happened to that dude?
He's a chick.
Holy God. And all of a sudden there's Debbie Mack and you're like, oh, dude, why is that can't be Tim O'Keefe. Is that Tim O'Keefe? The fuck happened to him? I think that's Steve Mehall.
My God. We got on the subject of who in our class has passed away, which is a really funny topic for conversation.
Oh, sure,
yeah. Because one of the guys there is a guy we know on Facebook, and he knows everything. He's still in Bolingbrook, so he knows who's
Eric.
died. Yeah, Eric. So Jeff and I were just throwing names at him. Yeah, he's dead. He's alive. No, he's dead. He's definitely dead.
Well, we thought fucking Jagwell went on the goddamn murder spree. That was like a rumor for a long time. How are we doing on the disc?
You got about 2 seconds.
Did you know a 4-year-old boy scared of rocks?
That was a long 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That disc had, you give that disc credit. It hung in there.
Yeah, it did. It was screaming there at the end.
But that's the funny thing. You and I talk about it all the fucking time. And every time I wind up here, that's what we talk about is especially because social media. Because another Bolingbrook person died just over the weekend. Someone from our high school or our age.
I didn't know the name.
I didn't know her either. They put photos of her up, and she looked relatively young, and she liked hockey, and now she's dead. And it's just that thing where you're like, holy Jesus. I mean, because we're getting there. You know, I'm 48. I don't even fucking think about it. I don't even feel it at all.
No, until you're at a party and somebody starts running down the list like you're at the Oscars.
There's an in memoriam segment. And
I'll be seeing you in all.
Mike Pawelski starts it off, of course.
Oh gosh, the zombie Mike Pawelski.
The zombie Mike Pawelski, dude. How that dude died in high school, and I'll never forget him. I remember his name forever. He was the dude who drowned. It's terrible, and he drowned in like a culvert or some bullshit. Actually, he drowned with Jimbo Covert.
Jimbo Covert drowned him?
Jimbo Covert drowned Mike Pawelski.
Were they on their way to Culver's for a Butterburger?
They may have been.
He drowned in Jimbo Covert.
So, but that's the thing is Eric knows all those dudes. And because like I told you, when we went to the reunion, we saw Jim Utosh, and then all of a sudden he's fucking
he
dead.
passed away not shortly after.
Yes.
Which is kind of creepy.
But also, and again, we've talked about this before, where people use Facebook as this ringing bell to go, hey, by the way, I lost a foot. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh no, dude,
pray for me.
This is terrible. I caught my toe at a sprinkler and it got ripped off. I was like, oh man, that's awful. But and then because like I said, there was always this rumor that Bob Mann and Larry Bagwell went on a fucking murder spree. And it turned out they didn't. And then I found Jagwell on social media. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe he exists.
I think Eric was telling Jeff a story about that guy. I don't know what it was specifically.
Well, Bob Mann is one of those guys. Like I was just like, because Bob Mann was like a good looking dude when we were in school. He was like class of '82. And then sure enough, I go and I find him on Facebook, and he's one of those guys with like a beard down to his navel, and he's selling soap. You know what I mean? Like one of those guys where you're like, oh, that's what happened to him, huh? Oh, there's a picture of him wrapped up in an American flag flipping off the camera. Oh, I get who this guy is. Motherfucker. He's got a wading pool full of jelly he made himself. He's jarring up and selling to his neighbors just to stay alive. He's got those old man like veins, biceps. You know what I mean? Because he's in his garage lifting milk crates full of gravel in a gym he made himself. He's been prison lifting his whole fucking life. Get the fuck out of here. Those people are scary as fuck, dude. Just like a picture of him with his son, and his son looks just like him, but he's got a pierced eye. Fucking awful. And it's Christmas, and he's giving him a bag of jerky. You're like, oh man, everything has gone terribly wrong for the Mann family. Jesus Christ.
What kind of jerky?
Yeah, I don't know, Christmas jerky, special reindeer jerky.
That's not so bad.
Something he made him, something he shot himself and dried out.
You mean a pierced eye like the brow or his actual eyeball?
I don't know. There was just metal in his face. You know what I mean? Just that thing where you're like, oh, there's a dude who's literally given up at 18. I mean, and maybe, I don't know, maybe millennials can pull that shit off. Maybe you can pierce your face and get a good job these days. I don't know. If I go to Shearson Lehman Brothers and some guy's telling me about pork futures and he's got a fucking spear through his head, I'm going to fucking back the fuck out quietly. Sorry, I can't trust you. And you motherfucker, the guy who looks like he just came out of a mosh pit and threw a suit on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Your Avenged Sevenfold tattoo does not inspire confidence in your investment skills. You fucking dick. So yeah, dude. So, but Bob, it's just, and I'm not even joking. Like he's just got that fucking ridiculous beard, and he's just, I started a new business venture. I'm selling time on payphones for Mexico. You know, like, oh God.
I get those all the time on Facebook. It's those people you might know.
Yeah. And
they always scroll by, and I scroll by them. I'm like, and then you see their picture, and you go, nah, I'm okay. I don't need to know that guy.
Dude, Jill makes me laugh. She is first of all, she's the most intuitive person I've ever met. Because she'll always be like, that person's up to something. Like, and I mean, no matter what, wherever we go, whatever we do, she'll know. She'll go, what do they want with me? What does that person want? And I, it's freaky because she's right. Like she got a friend request on Facebook, and she goes, I know this girl. She goes, you know who this person is? And I go, and it turns out it's someone that Jill knew from like 10 years ago at a doctor's office or something, right? And Jill's like, but now she out of the blue, she friends me. I mean, we've got four friends in common, but why the hell does she want to be my friend? And I'm like, because you're awesome, and you're maybe she just. I go, some people just harvest
Some people
friends on
see
Facebook.
a familiar face and go, oh, I wonder what that person's up to.
Yeah. And the thing is, she gets usually it's dudes doing it, like guys she went to high school with, and like, hey Jill, how you doing? You want to come over and have a sandwich? Like, get the fuck out of here. But because nobody can see her page unless they're her friend. Like, they can't explore like all the photographs and stuff. So whenever anybody asks to be her friend, she's always like, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't know. It depends on who you want to see your stuff. I mean, you got anything you want to hide from anybody? But she's had stuff in the past where I understand why she has a level of privacy. So we're sitting on the couch and she goes, I don't know why this person would ask to be my friend. She goes to their page. Sure enough, she scrolls up and the person is like one of those people who's like, hey, the first 10 people who want to sell perfume for me can go ahead. Like, and she immediately sees it. She goes, that's why she wants to be my friend. And I was like, God, I wouldn't even think about it. Because normally for the show, I accept people. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't even think about it. And I'm lucky that I don't get a lot of that shit. I mean, I've had...
You're lucky. Nobody likes me. I'm pretty fortunate.
Well, no, fake people. You know what I mean? Like, because West Side 86 Jokers will get fake people.
Yeah, I see that all the time.
And it's always some chick with like, hey, look at my nipples. And anytime you see a nipples photo in their as their profile picture, you're like, that's not a real person. My favorite thing is it'll say something like, Molly Wilkerson, and she's got a white tank top on and she's sweating. You know what I mean? Like she just came from a workout. Yeah. And then you look down and it'll say, he joined Facebook in 2016. And you're like, I guess that's not a lady. That's my guess. Your photo is a photo of a lady, but Molly, I'm guessing you have a cock, and I'm not putting on my page to sell me sunglasses, you bitch.
So it's salespeople trying to join the West 86 side.
It's not even that. It's
Joker dudes.
It's just weird fucking salespeople, but they're not really salespeople. Like Jill told me that she had someone on Facebook approach her and say, hey, I've just started this, because she has friends who do that rap stuff, like they try to sell you to get body wraps. I mean, dude, she lives in a fucking. Every time I go there, it's like I'm waiting for Lionel Hutz to come through and try to sell a monorail to the town. I mean, it's like that kind of fucking level of weird shadiness with some of these people and their sales, because everybody's looking for an easy way out. So she's got this woman who contacted her and said, hey, if you can get 47 people to a party, I'll send you the stuff for free, and then you can go ahead and hold a party in your house. Like, all that shit when I was a kid, they used to have like fucking...
demonstrations.
Yeah. And she just said to me, she's like, I don't... And I looked at her, I go, 47 people? I go, they really think you're going to... I mean, she goes, I don't even know 47 fucking people. I barely have 47 Facebook friends that I talk to that I see their posts. She goes, how the fuck am I getting 47 people in a room and sell them fucking perfume? It's ridiculous. But yeah, so I don't, so then when it was funny, when her brother-in-law was like a salesman, I'm just kind of like, he talks like that. I'm waiting for him to ask to be my friend, and then he's going to put a bunch of sunglasses on my fucking page. Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to say. He was asking people how they wanted their steak. He's like, medium rare, medium, who wants a steak? One guy wanted it well, all this. And then we sat down to dinner, and they were all fucking well done. They were just, because he had the tongs, he's walking around like a big shot. He's like, hey man, how do you like your steaks? Who wants a steak? Because they had bacon wrapped fillets that they got from
them. How do you mess that up, man?
Well, I mean, it was, like I said, it was just they were medium well. Okay, they didn't have a char on them.
No, but if there's no pink in them,
exactly,
what's
none.
the point of eating?
There was none. It was dry as fuck. It was like it was like a bacon wrapped hockey puck. But it wasn't that bad. He just cooked them too much. They still
by definition, that's what that is.
Right, but they were such good steaks that still had a little bit of steak flavor.
Did you put a pickle on them?
Then I thought it was the whole thing. But here's my favorite part too.
Pickle would have saved him.
Dude, they made the steaks and he put them all in a bowl.
Bowl of steak?
Bowl of fucking steaks, dude. I was like,
something there.
That's an awesome entree and a great band name.
Bowl of steak?
Dude, steaks. You got to say steaks.
No, I think bowl of steak is...
Better band name is Bowl of Steaks. You say Bowl of Steak?
Yes.
Nah, fuck that. Bowl of Steaks is a better name.
All right.
We'll agree to disagree?
I have to think about it. If I do the logo, maybe I'll agree with you.
Dude, Bowl of Steaks is funny.
Yeah,
there's like there's like 25 steaks in a bowl. Bowl of steak makes it sound like there's just one bowl and a giant Flintstone-sized steak.
Steak is a thing.
Yes.
There's a bunch of them. They're a steak. There's an army of steaks. Steak.
Well, army of steaks. See?
All right.
Bowl of steaks, army of steaks, army of steak. It just doesn't wow me. I like the plural works in this instance.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. You're going with the ominous looming steak.
Yeah.
All encompassing vibrating cloud of steak. But I'm saying just like a bunch of steaks makes me think of like an army of steaks.
Well, that joke you like from The Simpsons is I've seen this man eat Not,
Bowl of
you
change.
can say bowl of pennies.
Right, pennies doesn't work.
Yeah, so I still think bowl of steak is funnier.
Syllables are fucking awesome. You know, it's funny because this is a great story. Because that night that we went to the 80th birthday party, we also had something else to do. Jill, a few weeks ago, she just texted me a screenshot and it just said, "Dude," with like a bunch of exclamation points. Dude, Mike Toomey was doing a comedy show in Jill's town,
Wow.
like in a bar in where she lives. And we had walked past this bar in the summer and they had a sign there like comedy night, and then it was dudes I knew from Chicago, not necessarily dudes I'd want to go see, but dudes I knew. And I was just like, oh Christ. And then she saw Toomey's name and I'm like, because he doesn't do that anymore. Mike doesn't do those kind of shows. Because he's got the WGN gig, so he winds up doing these bigger theaters with the people from that, or he's doing his one-man show, but he doesn't do any of these off. So I was shocked when I saw his name, and she goes, "Are we going?" I go, "Absolutely, we're going." She goes, "I totally want to go," because she saw Mike at Zany's with Pardo one night, and we surprised him. It was me.
Yeah, I remember you came down.
Yeah, Noonan and all that. It was so fucking great. So she said, "We're gonna go see him." She goes, "You gonna text him?" And I go, "Well, I want to surprise him. I just want to show up." And we went to the bar to go see him, and he was just fucking. I walk up to the bar, and he's sitting there, and he does this double take where he kind of sees me, and he just kind of nods, and then he sees me, and he's like, "What the fuck?" He was so happy, and I fucking gave him a hug and talked to me and Jill, and they hung out afterwards. And he immediately just goes. He told Jill, he goes, "I'm going to write a comedy book someday." And he goes, literally every story is going to have Mike in it, like all these ridiculous stories. And there's stories I've told on the air here, but he and I were talking about syllables, and we were talking. I got to do one of his jokes because he did it differently on stage. And I said, "Dude, you changed that joke." And he's like, "Well, I don't. What do you mean?" And so I did it for him, and he goes, "Oh my God, I forgot my own joke." And the night. So we're talking about syllables, and the next day I remembered. I go, "Know what? I did it wrong," and I texted him his own joke, and I wrote it. He goes, "I can't believe you know all the words to this joke." and the joke was he was talking about going to the Goodwill store, and he says, "He goes, you know what my favorite thing is at the Goodwill store? Trophies."
I remember this.
"How much of a loser existence do you lead that you have to decorate your mantelpiece with other people's athletic achievements?" Dude, no, I've never actually been bowling. I just know how it feels to win.
What? So what did he change?
Well, because he said basically he dropped the Ben Bowling one.
Oh.
And then because the way he also used it, he goes because this was the tag, and he goes, "And who is that for? Your friends know you. They know you haven't earned these trophies. Who's that to impress? The cable guy when he comes over to install things? Hey, the TV's in the den. By the way, I haven't mentioned I'm a tennis champion." It's so great.
Oh gosh, we saw him in Lyle at a hotel comedy club, like in the bar area.
With
I don't know.
me?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
remember the electricity went out in the middle of his show.
Yes.
And he did the funniest. What did he do? Did he do a Super Friends thing or something?
Meanwhile,
Yes,
yeah,
that
dude.
was hysterical, man.
Oh God, he's just the funniest guy in the world. But it's all about syllables because when I was trying to remember the trophies joke, I said badminton instead of bowling, and then the next day I went, no, I go badminton's one too many syllables. What is it? And I remembered it was bowling, and so I actually texted him the joke. But he talked about cell phones at the Goodwill store. He goes, "They got them behind glass. Like anyone's going to steal those." He goes, "Yeah, that's what I want to do. Is I want to break in and steal that phone from 1971 that looks like the Green Beret, the walkie-talkie John Wayne used in the Green Berets." Oh, dude, and he holds it with two hands, like to his head. Oh, fuck! So fucking funny. And just seeing him was so great. Just sitting there, and it was just dude, it was amazing. It was amazing. And that was fun. You know what? I had my reverse thing of being nervous then because I think Mike Toomey is the funniest guy on earth. So I want Jill to love him. You know what I mean? Like I want to bring her. It's like where you want her to like things. You want her to like things. And she did. She loved him at Zany's, and then that's why when she saw his name, she was so excited. And then we went to the show, and she was laughing her ass off, which was great. I was so happy. And we had to share a table with people on a date because it was like this weird. It's this restaurant / comedy space, whatever. And they said, "Hey, can two people join you? They're here on a date."
Nope.
And we had to say yes, but he can say no. So then
would've.
Doug and Debbie joined us, and they ordered like 4 fucking plates of food, and Doug just kept putting it away. I'm like, dude, I don't know if you're planning to fuck anybody later, but
It's your first date, you go into a meat coma.
yeah, you got a stomach full of mushrooms, man. That's not fucking conducive to going down on anybody later. Oh, I can't wait to get my tongue between your legs. But first, let me go vomit up this fucking 8 pounds of ribeye I just ate.
God.
Dude. Because they ordered like 2 salads and then because it was a tapas joint. So they kept, the thing where they bring small food, but it's not really small.
Yeah.
But they brought us small food because we just ordered these little, we ordered French dip sliders or whatever the fuck. But then they kept bringing this. They brought him like a fucking plate of greens. Then he's eating this beef, and the chick is just giving him all the meat, and he's eating it. Like he's just totally wolfing it down. And I'm like, oh my God, she's not gonna want to kiss you later with your fucking burgundy mouth. That's gonna be disgusting. You're just eating this fucking like weird gravy. And I mean, dude, don't eat gravy on the night you're gonna get laid. Don't ever do it. Don't. Or you ever drink gravy? Did you see that on the fucking Dice show, dude?
The Dice? Oh no!
Dude, did you watch it?
No, I saw the coming attractions of it.
Dude, I'm at the house last night. All right, I'm on the couch with Jill, and she's asleep. She's laying on top of me, and I'm flipping channels, and fucking flip to Showtime, and Dice is on.
Yeah.
Andrew Dice Clay. And because I had seen a billboard for this show, and I thought it was another reality show where it was going to be like Gene Simmons' Family Jewels, where they try to make stars out of his family, and he does a bunch of dumb shit, and it's all fake. You know what I mean? I was just like, oh man, I can't fucking sit through that. Because I think, look, Dice is a fucking idiot. There's no doubt. But he makes me laugh because he's so ridiculous.
Yeah, I saw the coming attractions. I knew it was a Curb Your Enthusiasm.
See, I didn't know that. I thought it was a fucking reality show. So I never even paid attention to it. So when I flipped channels last night and it's on, so I go, well, and I start watching, and I mean, listen, everybody in the world has to watch the show because it is so stupid. The character of Dice is so fucking dumb, and he knows it. But that's the best part is he's kind of in on the joke, so he's willing to spoof it and make fun of it now, kind of. And you know what it is? I tried to, because then I'm laughing and Jill's laying on top of me, and unfortunately like my stomach is moving and she's on, her head's laying like right on it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying not to laugh because she's and she wakes up, she's like, honey, what's going on? And I'm explaining Dice. She goes, oh, I heard him on a podcast and he was really funny. I go, this show is so stupid funny. It's ridiculous. Yeah. He's got a friend named Milkshake, and this dude shows up drinking a glass of gravy. And he goes,
Kevin Corrigan?
And Dice is like, yeah.
Is that his name, Kevin Corrigan?
I think it's Corrigan, Kevin Corrigan.
Yeah, he was in Goodfellas and
exactly
True Romance
and Dice says to him, why are you drinking gravy? And he goes, hey, look, I make my own rules. He goes, I just drink gravy. I was hungry, but I wanted gravy, but I didn't have anything to put it on, so I just made it and I put it in a cup. I'm going to drink it. He goes, you know what? I'm going to die when I'm going to die. And nobody gets to tell me when to die, and nobody gets to tell me what to eat or drink while I'm on this planet. And there's a beat, and Dice goes, that is why I respect you. Dude, the show opens and Natasha Leggero's in it, and she's fucking great. She's Dice's girlfriend, which is ridiculous because she's like 30 and he's 70.
Yeah.
So she walks into the room and Dice's kid, the first thing you see is Dice's kid, and I'm like, oh man, I can't do this. I can't. Because Dice's kid was on the reality show, and he's trying to sell him as like a good drummer and all that stuff.
It's his real kid?
It's his real son, but they don't go, hey, there's my kid, and he doesn't get any lines. So it's like, all right, good. But she walks in the room and he's playing drums and Dice is playing drums with him. And it's just this rudimentary, like this weird, just nothing beat. And she comes in and she goes, which dress do you like better? And he goes, how do you like this? Does it sound good? And she goes, well, which dress? And he goes, oh, I like them both. And she's like, what? Seriously, you're playing fucking drums all day? And he goes, we're trying to do something here. And he's just yelling that Dice yell. Yeah. And then finally, the kid bails, and then he's like, honey, we're playing. And she's like, well, I come in here and I'm upset. And he's like, honey. And he goes, am I fucking hitting it? He's just screaming. And he just does that thing where he talks like Dice, but he's Andrew in the show. Mm-hmm. But he's wearing fingerless gloves, even though he's like still, it's so stupid. But you know what Dice is, dude? It's like if the Sopranos had the Three Stooges in their crew. He's just like those stupid meathead mobsters in the show that would always wind up getting told to do something, and Tony would get frustrated with them because they'd do something dumb. Yeah. That's who fucking Dice is. In this show, the premise was that he's a failure. Like, I guess that's the premise of the entire show, is that he used to be a monster, because the credits are him on stage at Madison Square Garden and all this stuff, but the opening beat of the show is him trying to get storm windows for free because he's Dice Clay. And then the guy, he goes, because I'm is there a celebrity discount? I don't want to do that. And he goes, but I'm just because I'm Andrew Dice Clay. And the salesman goes, who? And then the fucking credits hit. And I'm like, all right, so that's what they're going to do. So in the show, like but he's still famous enough in Vegas where he gets a $100,000 marker to gamble with, and then he loses $100,000 because there's a bad luck Elvis. So he goes up to this Elvis and he's like, hey, you gotta get out of here. You gotta just get off the premises. And it's like that thing where they kind of argue back and forth. And the guy goes, man, you got problems. And he goes, I got problems. You're the one in a jumpsuit, but I'm the crazy one. And again, he's improvising some of it where you're
Yeah.
like, it could be stronger, there could be funnier lines there, but it doesn't matter because the character kind of pulls it off.
Yeah.
And then at the end, but also at the end, he does this thing where everybody's kind of they like him, which is in real life I don't think that that's probably true. That's the one thing is he stood up at a wedding to because he's an asshole. He's like, oh, they probably want me to give a speech, and they're like, and Natasha's like, no, nobody wants you to give a speech. And he goes, no, I'm sure they're waiting for me to give a speech, honey. I talk to people for a living, and I just was like, holy shit, I say that to fucking Jill all the time. And he goes up and he gives a speech, and it's this profane, horrible about how now he goes, you just found the one cock you're gonna suck for the rest of your life because it was a gay marriage.
Yeah.
And but of course everybody just kind of like laughing and kind of they're like, yay, Dice finally comes and saves the day with his homespun nonsense. And it's like, no, in real life, people be like, dude, shut the fuck up. Whatever, who cares? That was the only off-key note is that people are entertained by his fucking bullshit, when in reality, people just be like, you're a dick.
Yeah.
But enough people go, you're a dick, to where it pulls off okay. It was like, fine. You have to watch it. Because again, I think Dice is ridiculously stupid funny. Because when he gets it, he's like Ford Fairlane. He got it. He knew what he was doing. He was spoofing that fucking idiot character. But he also did enough weird like ego bullshit where I think he's funny. I'm sorry, I can't. So
I paid to see him at the Rosemont Horizon,
dude,
which is where the big bands play. It's like our stadium.
Yeah, it's like
He
United
filled it.
Center. Yeah,
Yeah.
He filled it. He fucking filled it. Because in the show he said I was filling 80,000 seats a week.
He was.
Yeah, and now he's got to paint his hair on.
But that's when I turned, because I mean it was funny to hear the nursery rhymes, but then it got really weird and self-indulgent. He played the drums.
Yeah,
Nobody dude. I don't want to watch Dice play the drums.
right. But now he kind of gets it that it was stupid. But also, if you hear the Sklar brothers bit about him, okay, you would have to hear it. And I'm sure the people listening to some of them have heard it. He doesn't get it. I mean, he really thinks he's still a gigantic superstar, and he was shitty to them, and he was really mean to them in a club. So then they do dueling dices. They do this impression of him and stuff, and just dude, it's really funny. It's actually really funny.
I stumbled into a comedian who actually I think is pretty funny, but at first when I saw him, he was on I don't know, HBO or Showtime. I go, this guy is just ripping off Dice. This guy's got Dice's speech pattern, but you know who Sebastian Maniscalco is?
I do.
I saw this stand-up, and I didn't want to laugh because I thought he was just ripping Dice off. But then the more he started talking, the more I realized he's actually funnier than Dice. And
because he's doing like real material,
and he's got a way of talking that's it. I was telling somebody that he reminded me of like if Andrew Dice Clay and there's another comedian like Brian
Regan.
No, he's in The Hangover. McCallan.
Brian Callen.
Brian Callen.
Yeah.
Real physical.
Sure.
If you combine those two guys, that's who Sebastian Maniscalco is, and I was dying. I thought it was funny.
Nice. Hey, did you see Baskets? The show that Zach was in?
No,
God damn, it was funny.
I saw the coming attractions, and they were really funny.
Dude, Zach's incapable of being unfunny. I mean, everything he does is fucking great. And then the best part in the show is he's really good in it, and he plays himself and his twin brother. But the two stars of the show are Louis Anderson and Martha Kelly. Martha's my friend, and when I saw in the coming attractions that she was going to be in the show, I was so happy because she's just this deadpan. I mean, and she writes great jokes, but in this show, she just plays this deadpan frump. And she never betrays the character. She never winks at it. She just plays that straight. That's the key, is they all play it straight. Louis Anderson is his mom. I know, dude. Louis Anderson is his mom in the show.
Okay.
And he's fucking phenomenal. Like, you're watching it and you're just going, because you totally buy it. You totally buy it. And he's so good in it, and you're just like, oh my god, why finally somebody used him in a way where you're just like, yeah, that's fucking brilliant, because there are these dudes like Louis Anderson, you fucking forget.
Yeah, they had a stand-up comedy special, you loved it, you saw it, and then you never heard from the guy.
Louis Anderson has been famous for 40 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, dude, since 1985, easily 85, 95, 2000, 30 years. 30 years Louis Anderson's had a career. Howie Mandel has had a career for 30 years. These are guys who have done it and done comedy, and they have it in their bones. It's just, that's how I feel about Dice. I think Dice has funny in his bones. All the fucking bullshit and the, Hickory Dickory Dock, all that stuff is nonsense. Dude, if you see him in a movie, there's a movie called Making the Grade. Okay? Judd Nelson plays a fucking street kid.
Oh, you got me already.
Dude,
I'm in.
Judd Nelson plays this like dude from the street, like kind of a street kid, hustler, idiot. And he gets paid by a rich guy to go to boarding school for him because the rich kid doesn't want to go to boarding school. So his parents say, unless you complete a year of boarding school, we're going to cut you off from your inheritance. So he pays, and the guy's name is Palmer Woodrow. I'll never forget it. He's Palmer Woodrow, and he pays fucking Jed Nelson's character to go. And of course, then he's the street smart kid with all the fucking the Ivy League idiots, and he organizes a gambling ring and all that kind of shit. But the only reason he takes the money is because he owes Dice money. Dice is a loan shark, and Dice is fucking phenomenal in this movie. He's only in it for like 10 minutes. Yeah. He's in it in the beginning, and then Eddie disappears, and then he shows up at the high school where he works, and he's like, Eddie, and he's got the fucking cigarette hanging out of his mouth, and he just, the way he talks, it's just, you get it. When he's not doing his own fucking shitty material, and he's doing the character, you're like,
it's
fuck.
a funny character.
It works. Yeah. It totally works. That's why I told you, in Ford Fontaine, the funniest part.
Ford Fairlane,
I apologize. When he sees Gilbert Gottfried, and Gilbert Gottfried hires him to do something and pays him, and he's still being all the fucking tough guy or whatever. And when he goes out to his car, he skips. Like, he does this weird, like, remember, you know what a majorette step is?
Yeah.
Like Walter Payton used to do it into the end zone? Dice does that. Dice comes out of the radio station, he's all like fucking badass in his jacket, and then he goes, money, 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 in that stupid voice, and he does the majorette step, and he goes, but here again, because it's Dice, he goes, money, 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 so stupid.
Sounds like the Knocky Tots.
It's fucking hysterical. Well, we ripped, come on, let's be honest.
Yeah, that was the Knocky Tots.
That's all it was. But dude, it's the funniest part of Ford Fairlane, because you're like, oh, he gets it. Yeah. This dude fucking gets it. It's like when he fucking falls off the building and he lands and he's like, my hair. He does the Travolta. Yeah. And the person looks at him and goes, hey, do you know where the fucking Hollywood Bowl, or do you know where Disneyland is? And he goes, go back to Michigan, asswipe. It's just so stupid. So then he does the same joke in the Dice pilot. Dude, he goes to use an ATM. Again, this is why it's so stupid. He goes to use an ATM, and the ATM goes to charge him a $5 fee, and he goes, well, all right, fuck, I got to first of all, he's talking, I'm sorry, I have to do this. I apologize. In the beginning of the show, Natasha, they're going to a wedding. Her brother's getting married, and he's marrying another man. So when they go to the casino, he's like, why do I got a beer so early if you do? And she goes, well, I just want, you're here so I know you're not here. You don't fuck it up and disappear. I want to make sure you're coming to this wedding. And she goes, did you get the gift? And he goes, I got it taken care of. And she goes, what do you mean I got to take care of it? He goes, what am I going to do? Get him a bowl? It's just so stupid. He goes, I'm going with cash. You know the way he talks? Yeah. And it's just, I could not stop laughing at it because I rewound it like fucking 4 times. What am I going to do? Get him a bowl? I'm going cash like a real person does. And she's like, we can't afford, he goes, I'm going to give him $1,000 in an envelope. She goes, we can't afford that. He goes, yeah, you can't afford not to. She goes, what does that mean? He goes, it's boomerang money. She goes, boomerang money? He goes, yeah, it'll come back around to us. She goes, oh, when we get married, he'll give us $1,000? And he goes, no, I meant for like a birthday or something. She goes, I'm busting your fucking onions. Don't worry about it. So then later on, he goes to get the ATM to get money out. And it tries to charge him a $5 fee. He goes, a $5 fee? He goes, that's not for me. That's not for Dice. It's so stupid. He keeps calling himself that like he's somebody and he's important. That's for these locals. He goes, that's not for local people like Dice. I can't even do the voice. That's for out of towners. He goes, that's for Timmy Snapfuck from fucking dumbfuck Iowa who comes out here and he wants to get his ball sack when he pays the $5 fee, but not Dice. Oh, dude. It's so dumb.
I'm gonna have to watch it now.
Yeah, because it's so dumb. Again, it's that thing where he's playing a buffoon, but he's in on the joke of being a buffoon, but he's also really a buffoon. There's like 9 levels to this character. It's so dumb. I told you, if you ever listen, he did on the day the laughter died on his album, he did this fucking bit where he kept saying, you know, that's what I think. You know, that stupid thing that he says. So he kept going. I'm trying to remember what it was. He kept saying, and deck. He kept saying, and crack, or there's some line he keeps saying, and he keeps coming back to it, and it I could not stop laughing at it. It was like an 8-minute bit, and it was nothing. It was just him saying nonsense words, but as the character, and I'm like, oh, he's in on the fucking joke. And I set it up the tape at Jill's house. I'm like, you got to save all the Dice shows, and she's just like, honey, I can't believe you're laughing this much. But then she's watching it and she's laughing. She's laughing at him, and then she's laughing at me, laughing at him because he's so fucking dumb. Just that gravy thing with fucking, and he's got a friend called Milkshake because he used to hang out with Hot Tub Johnny. In real life, he hung out with Hot Tub Johnny West. That was his best friend for a long time when he was all famous. So now in the show, he's got a guy named Milkshake, and fucking Natasha's great because then there's another line where she's talking to Dice, and he's like, they're gambling, and she's like, you're supposed to go to this wedding in 20 minutes. You're not there with a fucking gift. I'm going to be pissed. And fuck you too, Milkshake, you motherfucker. And she walks away. Awesome. So I love the fact that Natasha gets to be, he realizes he's an idiot, and she gets to kind of push him around. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't make her the subservient woman character. I dug it, man. I was like, and now I want to watch it. I'm going to watch it all the fucking time. It was so stupid. Next week, Adrian Brody wants to follow him around because he wants to do a movie about Dice. And it's like, that would never happen in a million years. So it's just enough stupid, but just enough silliness. And I could not stop laughing, dude. That's for these guys, not for Dice. So stupid. And his friend Milkshake's like, yeah, it's not for Dice. Like, that dumb. And you heard what Carvelli said?
He's his hype man.
Yeah, dude. And he's fucking gambling, and he's like, yeah, you got to put your balls on. And he's got the cigarettes hanging out of his mouth, and he's talking to people, and it's just, oh my god, dude. And then, the spoof, the fucking Elvis guy looks at him and goes, or no, the guy who is marrying Natasha's brother hates him because he hates the Dice character.
Yeah.
So he starts to give him attitude, and he goes, hey. He goes, that's my act. He goes, not Andrew, the guy who's standing in front of you. That's the guy on stage. And he goes, really? If you're different from the guy on stage, why do you both wear fingerless gloves? He says it to him, and then Dice goes, maybe we share the same fucking closet. Who cares? It's fucking great. So stupid. So he gets busted on it, and then he tries to get out of it. And it's just because he really is Dice, but he's like, oh fuck, dude. But that's another dude. That dude's been famous for 30 fucking years. And yes, he's fallen way off. But also, then he was in a Woody Allen movie, and everybody's like, he might get nominated for an Oscar because he's so fucking good in it. Because he can act. Yeah. That's the thing, is he can fucking act. God, I never thought I'd be defending Dice. You know what's funny? I can remember the first time I ever saw him.
Well, it was at Rodney Dangerfield special,
yes.
wasn't it? Who else was on that bill? It was
Bill Hicks.
That's exactly. It was a bunch of dudes. You're like,
Kinnison.
What? Wow. Was that all the same show?
Yes. And that's the thing, is it's like you remember Kinnison, and then Dice was on it, and Bill fucking Hicks was on it. And it's just like, holy Jesus. I mean, you forget it.
Yeah.
But I will never forget it. I mean, I remember I was watching it at a party in California, and it came on, and everybody shut up to watch it because it was like, you were just like, holy fuck, who are these dudes? It was insane.
It's like the first time. Do you remember the first time seeing Eddie Murphy's Delirious?
At Eric Smith's house.
Yeah.
Yeah. We watched it.
We were supposed to be watching a football game. Giants,
Lions. That's how badly I know it.
Yeah, we were watching football at everybody's house on Monday. We ended up just bailing out of the game and putting on, and Eddie Murphy's Delirious was on, and oh, geez, I'll never forget it.
No, it was phenomenal. And there's those moments where you look and you go, fuck, that was the greatest.
Like some television moment where you would know exactly where you were and what you were doing when you saw it. It's like what people say about the Beatles on Ed Sullivan.
Right, exactly. Dude, Dice is just in the credits, he lights the cigarette, the stupid, but and again, and I'm going to betray myself a little bit here too. I mean, he looked cool. He was a good looking guy. He was just like fucking, he had the goofy hair, but then the stupid thing with the fucking Zippo and the cigarette, and then the fucking, once he put the arm around the head, you went,
you knew, okay, this
guy's an idiot. Yeah, he totally gets that he's fucking stupid. Like, he never betrayed, and because even he even says, oh no, these people, they know that I'm not Dice or whatever. He's like, remember when I was on The View and I hugged Barbara Walters? She knows that I'm fucking around, But then he says more dumb shit because he's been on Howard Stern. Like, then Jill tells me the story he told on the podcast. She said, she goes, do you know his story? And I go, what do you mean? And she goes, well, he was flat broke. Like, he lost all of his money, and he was down to $20,000, and he went to a casino and he started to play cards. He played blackjack, and he turned into $1.5 million in 20 minutes. And I said, Jill, I don't believe that story for a fucking minute. She goes, oh, don't ruin it for me. She goes, I thought that was like his real story. I go, honey, he's like a pro wrestler. He says a bunch of crazy shit. It's like Hulk Hogan will tell those stories all the time about, I body slammed Andre the Giant, and I fought a whole cabal in Japan, and
what a cabal in Japan.
Literally, because that's what pro wrestlers do. They keep up kayfabe. It's a way to make you think more of them than they are, and it's a way to keep their fucking legend alive. So if I go, honey, I'll have to hear the story, but I go, there's no way Dice was down to his last 20,000 and he turned into $1.5 million in 20 minutes at the fucking gambling table. I mean, shit like that, I guess, happens because I go, honey, that's the premise of this show. Because in this show, he gets $100,000 and he loses it. He goes across the street, he gets another $20,000, and he just keeps gambling until he makes $200,000, and then he pays everybody back. So I was like, He might have been just doing it as this, because then it'll be like, well, yeah, it's part of my real life. You know how it is when I did Dice in Vegas. I did not die. It's so stupid. God damn it, I love it. I can't get enough of it, and I know it's so not me. Like,
Yeah,
you know, it's not intellectual at all. It's just dumb. It's literally the equivalent of Curly with the derby, just going and hitting people and
Finding yourself laughing at dumb shit.
yeah, and he is straight up dumb shit, all of it.
Yeah.
God damn it. It's so stupid. But yeah, not dice. Oh, I can't, whatever. Fuck. So, but getting back to social anxiety, what were you going
Oh, is that? Oh, we were. That's right.
Well, I was talking about when I went to see that band.
You went to see a band. Oh, Were we talking about Dennis's? I was talking about seeing Eric at Dennis's party and talking about all the people.
And we spun off on some guys.
Yeah, because you said the night before Dennis's party you went to.
That's when I went to this band.
Okay, see Hairball.
Right. And there are
This was about anxiety. You're right.
Yeah. To explain, like I said, when Jill was a little freaked out about me going to see her parents or whatever, because part of her is worried that I'm not going to think it's cool enough, but also I'm sure there's part of her that's like, I hope the fuck he doesn't do something stupid. And I hate to be, I'm sure it's not that blatant. Not that, I'm sure she doesn't think, I hope he doesn't do something fucking stupid.
No, that's an easy way to sum it up, but there's more to it than that.
But I'm sure she's nervous that I may be inappropriate or I say something to offend.
Because you've done it, you do it all the time.
Yeah, but I don't.
Pilot.
Yeah, but that wasn't. I know, but I will. That wasn't intentionally.
Well, you're not a
It wasn't
mean
intentional
person.
buffoonery. No, I'm not. I don't.
But sometimes, like we've talked about before, you get caught up in being performing, and then you realize, ooh, wait, I shouldn't have said that.
Well, I made a joke at her parents' house. They were all talking because I went and got ice out of the machine, the fridge. Their fridge makes ice.
Yeah.
So I was drinking ice water the whole day. And I came back, and her mom said, "Were you able to get ice out of the fridge?" And I said, "Yeah, I pushed the button." She goes, "Oh, none of us could get it all day. We just figured it was broken." And I said, "Well, look what happens when I show up. All of a sudden, I get ice." And I sit down, and she's like, "Yeah, we thought it broke. Our last one broke." And she starts telling that story, and she goes, "Oh, and they said it was going to be $350 to fix it." And then her sister said, "Oh, that same thing happened to us. We had an ice maker, and it totally broke. And then it turned out they didn't have the model number. And then when they did, it was going to be $450 to fix it." And then her other sister goes, "Yeah, oh my gosh, that same thing happened. It's weird how something like that break." And they said it was going to be almost $400 to fix it. And I went, "Jill and I bought 2 ice cube trays for $1.79." And it was just like this beat, and then everybody laughed. You know what I mean? Because it was that
you put a feeler out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just throw it out there. You're kind of like, oh. I said, well, yeah, it's funny because Jill and I just bought 2 ice cube trays for $1.79, and everybody laughed, thankfully. And I could almost hear Jill just go. He didn't say fucking ice cube trays. Good for him. So I understand that feeling of not. Of worrying, because like I said, I can't go with Jill to places. We do. But
yes, but you've already talked yourself. Trust me, I'm only saying this because I know from experience. You've already talked yourself into a place where you're finding reasons you don't want to go because this could happen.
The
this
bad
could
thing
happen,
that will happen.
That would happen. This would happen.
And it's partially because I know me, but it's mainly because I know that out there lurks the public. And the general public is awful.
Yeah, they can be, and that's
they should show a little tenderness, is what I would say personally. Ranking Roger and the boys, Dave Wakeling. So we're going to go to this band, and I have to be honest with you, I was not thinking bad things. I was excited to see the band. I wasn't thinking anything.
No,
terrible
it's only
would
when you
happen.
get there and you start seeing the people. No, I have that. I still have that.
Because she and I have done that where we'll go to. She has bars around there, and they're always full of people. And I'm always saying, "Hey, we should go to your bar that you liked," because she hasn't been there in like 3 years or whatever, 2 years. She stopped hanging out there, and I was like, "Well, we should go." And I'm like, and part of me, because I just want to walk in with her, because I just want everybody to see me with her. I want to see what'll happen. I know it's silly. It's
that's part of the premeditated thing.
Exactly, which is why then I don't push it. I go, "Don't do this, dude," because you're just inviting trouble.
You really don't want to do that.
No, I do not.
Yeah.
So we went to this band and we showed up, and it was this band Hairball. Like I said, we had Steel Panther and stuff, but these guys, they're you can go to hairballtheband.com, I think, or whatever.
Probably not.
You won't, but I'm assuming some people will.
Oh, I'm sure some.
Well, people who trusted me on Rock Sugar should trust me on this.
Okay.
Because what these guys do is, they don't play any originals. All right. It's there's a rhythm section and a guitarist. that remain the same, and they're on stage the entire time. And then they rotate in 3 different guys singing lead. Let's put it this way: they get on stage, and there's the guitar player and the bass player, and they're dressed like full on '80s, those fucking giant Paul Stanley boots and stuff. And there's a drummer, and when the show starts, they fucking Detroit Rock City. And
feel uptight on Saturday.
right, and so then as they start the music, Paul Stanley comes out from the back, one of the singers, full makeup and costume.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Right, exactly. So that's what I'm saying is these dudes, there's the rhythm section and the guitar player remains the same the entire show, but the rotating singers sing different songs and dress up and are in full regalia.
Character, whatever they're doing.
So they did Detroit Rock City, and I'm trying to remember the second fucking song they did. God damn it. It's
Culture Club?
no, it's Paul, and it's
Oh,
Kiss. It's 2 Kiss songs. So then that ends, and then all of a sudden, and the D. Snyder walks out, and he's in the full makeup with the big blonde hair and the pink fucking outfit, and they do "We're Not Gonna Take It" and "I Want to Rock," and they do that, and then he leaves, and then
Guy from Youthquake's Dead or Alive shows up.
Pete Burns with the fucking swollen face. They do fucking dude. Axl, Guns N' Roses. They do Bon Jovi. They do Motley Crue. They do. I mean, everybody. Dude, Steve Perry. The guy comes out in the white tails from the Captured live album with the black pin straight wig. And
I'm offended that they consider that hair metal.
Well, that's why I said it's not that.
Yeah.
It's just this 80s tribute
thing.
kind of.
Okay. So it wouldn't be so far fetched to see Boy George.
Right. So you're waiting, and that's the thing is you don't know what's going to happen. So and they did, and dude, fucking Whitesnake, Still of the Night, and they brought out, and he did Coverdale, and he fucking did Coverdale. That was the thing. They're not just doing it like, oh, look at the costume. They sounded like the guys. The Paul Stanley sounded like the Paul Stanley. The Coverdale was the one where I went, oh my God, because nobody does Coverdale. That's fucking insane. Because you can fake D. Snyder if you want, but the guy sounded like Steve Perry. So of course they did. He came out and he did Don't Stop Believin', of course, and Any Way You Want It. And it just, dude, it was phenomenal. And it was over a 2.5-hour show. They just kept coming in waves of guys. Thankfully, they only did one Bon Jovi song. They did Live It on a Prayer. Yeah. But they did, of course, Dave. They did Van Halen. They did Panama and fucking Jump. And they just kept bringing dudes out. And at the end of the show, they doom 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 doom. Ding, 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 ding. Dude walks out in a unitard, a Freddie Mercury unitard with the mustache and the mirrored shades, and he fucking killed it, dude. Like, I don't know if you can find them online or clips of them, but it says no cell phones and all that stuff. They didn't want people to do it, but then of course tons of people had fucking cell phones. But they were really, really great. Like I said, they played over 2 hours. Dude, when we pulled up, they were they sold, because I was like, well, we'll just get into this fucking thing. So we waited to buy tickets. She called the day of, and they're like, we only have 30 tickets left. Oh. They've sold, I think they sold 1,500 for this place. And I'm like, well, fuck it. $20 a crack. You're doing pretty good for yourself as a tribute band or whatever the fuck. Yeah. And then we get there. They've got a fucking tour bus. Like a hairball tour bus. It has their logo in the whole, it's a giant tour bus out front. Then you turn the corner, they got a fucking big rig that brings all their shit. It's like, it's a hairball fucking big rig with their logo on it. And I'm like, well, at least these guys aren't skimping on it. You know what I mean? And they did everything they could to fucking make you think that they sounded like them. They were phenomenal, dude. They were so great.
They should get on that show, World's Greatest Tribute Bands on Access.
They really should. If they haven't been, they should.
Because lately it's been really bad. I mean, they had a Billy Idol guy that was awful. They had...
well, I didn't even know they had a second season of it.
Yeah, it's still on. I think they moved it. It used to be on Monday. Now it's on Wednesday or something. But the bands they've had on there haven't been very good.
What was funny when I looked at these guys, because I said to Jill, I go, because you never know what you're getting into with this kind of shit. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if it's going to be good or bad or whatever, but I'm excited to go. When she said it to me, I was like, honey, we got to go to that. It's going to be fucking amazing. And she was really looking forward to it too. But it could be just this crapshoot where they're terrible. It's the Midwest. Yeah. I don't know what we're getting. Because again, I always joke about the fact that, out here you come out and you turn on radio stations and you hear Godsmack. You know what I mean? Like nobody plays Godsmack anymore. Like by me, people would laugh at that kind of music on the radio. But out here, you still get that kind of meat and potatoes metal, like Seether. You know, those bands exist because they tour this area. So we went to Hairball's website, and I'm like, once they were great, I'm like, I said, I don't understand why they don't come out by me. But then again, I do, because again, Steel Panther kind of runs the roost out there, and there's all sorts of tribute bands out there, millions of them, and they can't make the money out by me that they could make out here.
Yeah.
So we look at their schedule. They're at fairs. They're playing county fairs and places. They're selling out. They're playing all these fucking shows all over the Midwest, in Minnesota and Iowa and then in the East Coast. And so they're a genuine touring band, but they're not touring with their own material. They're touring with this. It's just a weird dynamic, you know?
Yeah, you can find a good niche or a way to present yourself. You can do something.
Well, I would see them again and again. I mean, they were just fantastic. I would hope they would change it up, and even if they don't, though, they were still good enough. They did, like I said, the Axel was fucking ridiculous, and the thing is, they hit the vocals. That's the deal.
Yeah.
It's 3 different dudes tagging in and doing
Covering
different,
a bunch of dudes.
and like the Steve Perry wound up being the Coverdale.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? Because again, when he came out as Steve Perry, he had a giant nose too. And I'm like, whoa. But then when the Coverdale came out, I looked at honey, I looked at Jill and I go, honey, that wasn't a fake nose. I go, that's that dude's nose.
Oh,
because,
the dude's got a spooky honker.
He's just got a giant fucking umbrella nose. You know what I mean? And I'm like, but he came out as the Coverdale and he fucking killed it. And they, like I said, they did. And then the Vince Neil, of course, it was hysterical. So they were everything we could have wanted them to be.
Yeah.
And they played over 2.5 hours, and they had fucking, and at the end, of course, oh, dude, Alice Cooper. They came, which kind of blew me away, because again, that's not even 80s. So I'm like, and then he came out and he did No More Mr. Nice Guy and School's Out. You know what I mean? It was just fucking great. And he brought a garbage can with the fucking arm hanging out of it, and he had the crucifix and the cane, and they were phenomenal. Oh, dude, fucking all of a sudden out of nowhere, Cheap Trick. And
Wow.
and he came out and they did Dream Police, and he had the full on white policeman's outfit with the white hat from the video.
Yeah.
Holy God, dude! And he killed it. He sounded like Robin Zander because nobody does Cheap Trick.
Yeah,
dude.
I've never.
And it was phenomenal. I was so happy
You were.
on on the surface.
Who looked at you? Somebody looked at you. A little bit.
So like I said, they were almost sold out. So Jill and I had to hustle over there, and I dropped her off at the entrance, and I went to go park. And when she got in, she got 2 of the last 5 tickets available. And she texted me, and she's like, "Oh my God," and I said, "All right, honey, I'll go park." So I parked, and I came in, and it was this big barn of a theater. Like I said, it held about 1,200 people, I think, and it was general admission. So, and Jill's tiny, she's only 5 feet tall. So I'm like, I don't know where we're gonna wind up here, and we were on the floor, and there was going to be an opening band. So I got her a beer. We're hanging out. And she goes, "Hey, you want to go up and look in the balcony?" And I said, "Yeah." So we went over. And the balconies, there was no balcony facing the stage. The balconies were on the side. So they were in the wings, kind of. So we walked up the stairs, and we looked, and there were banisters. There were, balconies where people could congregate, and you would watch the show from up there. So, and so weird. The staircase was all kind of, this was an old joint. It was all it was like crazy stairs from like a fucking haunted house or something. So we made it up there, and we were joking about the place. And then we look, and there's an empty space on the balcony when the opening band kicks in, and they played cover tunes. And I don't know if they played a couple of their own originals, but they actually covered 2 Motley Crue songs that I was like, it gave me hope for the evening. And I know that sounds ridiculous, because everybody can play fucking, Wild Side or whatever, but they played Take Me to the Top off the first album, and Livewire, which are, because Motley Crue's first album for me is their best album. I know you don't care and you hate them, which is fine. But they were, since this opening band is like, the Cherry Bomb Daddies or some nonsense. I don't fucking know. Literally, it's 4 dudes from Milwaukee.
Bowl of steak.
Yeah, bowl of steaks. So we get up there, and Jill and I are kind of we're looking off the balcony, and there's a group of people sitting, there's about 10 people sitting down at a table, and they're talking. They're not even watching the opening band. So Jill takes my hand. She goes, come with me. So we go over, and we go behind that group of people, and we lean on the balcony, and we get like right up to the banister, and we're watching the band. So she's on the banister, and I'm kind of like right behind her, standing there. And a woman from the group leans over, and she pulls on my shirt on my shoulder. And I turn around and look at her, and she goes, "Hey, just so you know, when Hairball starts, we're all standing there, so you can't." And I said, what? And she goes, yeah, that's why we're here. We've reserved this space. So you can't stand on by the banister when the hairball, she goes, you can stand here now, we don't care. But when the hairball comes on, you got to move. This is like a
General mission,
50-year-old, huh?
It's general mission, isn't it?
Yes.
All right.
This is like a 55-year-old housewife. 50-year-old housewife. She's had a few. Because when she talked to me, I got a fucking head rush from her fucking breath. And there's like, there's 5 dudes and 5 women, and they're all sitting at these tables. So Jill says, what'd she say? I said, she says, we got to move when the headline band shows up. She goes, no, we don't. I said, well, I understand that. And she goes, well, I'm just saying, yeah, we don't, if they wanted to do this, they could stand on the banister like everybody else. She goes, you don't get to reserve seats. I go, I know, it's general admission. She goes, okay, well, we don't have to move. And in theory, Jill's right. In practice, though, there's 10 people who I don't know what they're going to do. Because again, she pulled on my shirt, and I know they're drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always waiting for bad things to happen anyway. And they're Wisconsin dudes. Like one of them's this big fucking, he's probably like, I'd say 6'4", and he probably weighed 300 pounds, big bald dude. And he was the husband of the chick who pulled on my shirt. And so I look at Jill and I go, okay. I go, that's fine. I go, but I'm going to have to hit somebody.
What? Okay.
Well, because there's malevolence in the air. I mean, I can feel it. I used to bounce. All right, I know you think I'm stupid, but I used to bounce.
I don't think you're stupid.
Well, I know when a situation is going to occur.
Yes.
I know when there's going to be a problem. If we stand there and watch the show, they're going to be a problem. Either they're going to get in my face, or one of them's going to take a swing at me.
Well, it's basically, what are you willing to do over the principle of the thing? And at some point, you have to realize what you're in for and whether or not it's worth it. That's a decision that
right. So that's why
doesn't involve punching. It doesn't involve.
I think. Like, here's the thing. I think of the worst fucking thing that can
Yes.
happen, and then I work backwards from it. Okay. To me, you have to think of DEFCON 5. Because,
yeah. Well, there's considering DEFCON 5, but there's also you can't live in DEFCON 5 because it takes you. It hurt. It's not good for you. It's unhealthy.
Well, understood. But I'm at the same time I'm overprotective of her anyway.
So backing up, you were on the floor, and
No. We walked into the floor, and then we went up to the balcony.
So you had free reign of the place because it's.
We'd go
general
anywhere we
admission.
wanted. It's general admission. So everybody paid the same price
Yeah.
for the ticket. There's no assigned seating at all.
No.
In fact, there are no seats. The entire
Yeah.
floor is standing room. The balconies are standing room, but there just happens to be a table with like 8 chairs that they found. And that's what they're sitting at together. And then there are a couple of their friend people, they're all standing there. So they've kind of commandeered this space, but they're not right up on the balcony. Up, how you lean against the balcony to watch?
They didn't stay in their spot.
No, they basically decided, hey, this whole section is ours.
Okay.
And they've laid claim to
Sure.
it. So Jill took my hand, and we slipped right in there, and we're standing on the balcony, and because they left probably about 3 feet between them and the balcony, and they weren't because again, other people are standing at the other parts of the balcony because they want to be there to see the band. But she here's why I'm at DEFCON 5. Nobody politely said to me, "Excuse me, I'm sorry, we actually were hoping to stand there." No, she pulled my shirt and pulled me close to her, and she was like, "I'm just telling you, when the band starts, you got to move." You can tell by the way when somebody speaks to you that it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why I said to Jill, I go, I'm just letting you know that this is going to be a thing. And she goes, well, they don't get to tell us where to go. And I said, you're absolutely right. I go, but if we accept that reality, we also need to accept the reality that they may do something stupid to try to claim their territory, and someone could take a swing at me or hit you, and then I'm going to just hurt everybody in this building. Because again, I'm overprotective of her, like she can't take care of herself, and that's stupid because I've seen catfight Jill in action. I mean, I know that she can fucking get her hackles up, and she won't take any shit from anybody. But I don't want it to quote Samuel Jackson, I don't want it to reach that pitch. All right, I didn't see you wash your hands. I saw you get them wet. Maybe I know if you had lava, you would have done a better job. But there's blood all over the fucking rag right now, and I don't know what Jimmy's going to do about it. So I'm just waiting.
You saw me washing them.
I saw you get them wet. So I say that to Jill, and she looks at me. She goes like, "Why?" And I said, "Because I'm telling you that they're drunk. So drunk people," I said, "I used to bounce. Drunk people will go that extra mile to make you fucking miserable and do something bad. And all it's going to take is one of them's going to pour a beer on your head, or one of them's going to shove me, because they'll do that passive aggressive bullshit to start a fight. So then I have to hit somebody, and then I'm going to get tossed out." And she's like, "Well, don't do anything." I go, "That's easy for you to say, but if someone hits me, I have to hit them back." She goes, "Nobody's going to hit you." She goes, they're all bark. She goes, "They're going to talk whatever they want." She goes, "But we paid for these tickets just like they did. We have a right to this space." I go, "Yes, we do, honey. But there's 10 of them. And there's strength in numbers, and people who've been drinking don't want to listen to logic and reason." So then she gets mad at me. And she's like, "Well, do you want to move? I mean, is that what you want to do? Is you want to?" And I go, "No, I don't want to move. I'm just letting you know the reality of the situation." And so then I go, "Please don't you get mad at me. You're my only ally in this room." I go, if I was like with like 4 other dudes, I wouldn't even be sweating this. But I'm worried about something happening to you, and then I have to just fucking go automatic punching machine at everybody in the fucking building. And I because I'm always waiting for the bad thing to happen. And it's not a good way to be. It's not a fun way to be, I tell you that. So we're against the balcony, and the opening band is still on, and then the woman comes over to me again, and she's like, "You have to move. You do know that." And I just went, "I heard you." And she goes, "Well, I'm just letting you know that this is our space. So the second when the real band comes on, you guys got to get out of here."
Why didn't you? I'm just gonna say
because honestly, I was considering. I was hoping they were going to be considerate, and we could slide down, and they could get a spot where they could all be together, and we'd be the end of it. And it was a woman. I don't want to fight with a woman, because then the husband gets involved, and I started just going, I heard you. So when the opening band stops, she comes over to me and she goes, "Okay, you guys can move now." I said, "Actually, we're not going to move." Mm-hmm. And she goes, what the fuck do you mean you're not going to move?" And her and another friend, a woman, push me. They shove me. And she goes, "We told you have to move. So if you need to get out of here." And I should tell you, Jill is up against the balcony, and I have one hand on either side of her holding the bar. So she's in a little box. I've got her in a protective little box. Nothing bad's going to happen to her. And this woman, they're beef queens. I mean, they're just these fat fucking chicks. So they get up and they're drunk, and they come up and they shove, and they push me, and they poke a finger in my chest, and they go, "You need to move. We told you this is our fucking space. You need to fucking get out of here." And I go, "Listen to me." I go, "First of all, get your hands off me. Second of all, we all paid the same amount of money. This is general admission. So we're in this space right here because we bought the same tickets you bought. You don't have any seats. There is nothing saved. And you weren't here when we got here. So that's it. You can share the space with us." "Well, we'll just call fucking security." I go, "Go ahead. I don't care." So then I turn around, and Jill's looking at me, and she goes, "You all right?" And I go, "You saw what happened?" And she goes, "Yeah." She goes, "Are you okay?" And I go, and I reach in my pocket, and I go to give her my car keys. And she goes, "Why?" And I go, "Because if I go to jail, you need to have a car so you can come and bail me out." And she just goes, "Don't hit anybody. Don't do anything." And I go, you don't understand. They're going to force my hand here. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to have a fight. But if we're going to stand here, recognize that 10 people are going to hate us, and one of them is going to push me or hit me or pour a beer on me, and bad things are going to happen. And she goes, "I'm not taking your keys." I go, "You need them, because if I get in a fight, you need to take the car to come bail me out." And then again, she gets angry at me. She's like, "You're making too much of this." And I go, "No, I'm not. You just saw them push me and shove me and poke like fingers in my chest." She goes, "Well, do you want to go? I mean, if we can just leave, if you want to leave." I go, "I don't want to leave, Jill. I'm just letting you know the situation as it exists is right now we've made 10 enemies. And eventually they're going to do something, and I'm going to have to deal with it. Because otherwise, what am I going to do? Take you by the hand and pussy out and walk the fuck downstairs? If somebody takes a poke at her or hits me, I'm not going to go, "All right," and leave. That's just not how it works. So those women shove me, and I turn around, I'm talking, and Jill won't take the car keys. And then, like I said, and she's getting angry at me, and I'm like, "Honey, you're my only ally in the room. Please don't." And she goes, "Well, I just don't know why you're getting so upset." I go, "You just saw women shove me. Who knows what their men are going to do now?" So the bald dude stands up, and he gets in my face, and he just goes, "Hey," he goes, "We told you that you can't stand here." I said, I understand that. And he goes, "Well, then we told you that this is our space." I go, but it's not your space." I go, this entire building is general admission. I go, I'm not trying to start a problem here. I go, there's plenty of room for everybody. We have one slot. I go, you can all, and he's, well, yeah, but you fucking come over here. We've fucking been sitting here and you fucking just go ahead and steal the fucking, and he's like, he's drunk and spittle in my face and just, I just don't, again, I used to bounce and I fucking hate it. It drives me crazy. He goes, well, I'll just get fucking security and they'll fucking throw you out of here because you're fucking starting trouble. I go, go get security. I'm happy to talk to him. And I turn around and Jill looks at me and I go to give her my car keys and she just goes, just keep them. Nothing bad's going to happen. And I go, honey, it's going to be fucking terrible. You don't, and so now I'm vibrating. Because I told you, I don't do well in those situations. I want to protect her and I also don't want to eat shit. And it's all these bad fucking things are coming to, it's a tornado of shit. It's just awful. And I'm there to have a good time. Like I want to just watch the band and have fun. And I want to just, put my face on my girlfriend's shoulder and we'll smile and laugh and take selfies. And I'm there to have fucking fun. And now I'm waiting to fight 10 dudes. So he fucking walks off. And the whole time he's gone, the other people that now scrunch us, they get as close as they possibly can to us and they keep bumping us. Mm-hmm. Not Jill, because I have her in the box. Mm-hmm. But they're bumping into my arms and they're elbowing me and they're shoving and they're doing that thing where they're like, fucking rude people, man. And they're shaking their heads. Mm-hmm. And they're pissed and they're mad and they're talking across us because we're there. Yeah. Hey, are you having a good time on that side? Some fucking rude people are trying to ruin the night, but I'm having a good time. Like they're doing that. And I'm holding the banister, waiting for them to hit somebody. And a security guy comes. Mm-hmm. And, I got to tell you, first of all, the security presence in this building, non-fucking existent. I worked the House of Blues and we had floaters all over the goddamn place every fucking show. Well, they go get this poor dude. First of all, he's a black dude, so he wants nothing to do with this band or this music or any of this crowd. It literally, he's in a room 1,000 drunk white guys. How safe does that guy fucking feel? And he wasn't big. He was a skinny dude, man. And he's wearing like this, one of those, those leather jackets with the fur collar? And he's got like a fake badge pinned to it. I'm like, oh man, if you're not a real cop, put the badge away. What the fuck are you doing here?
Please have a walkie-talkie.
No kidding, right?
Yeah.
So he walks up and it looks like a straight up fucking plastic badge Halloween costume, man. And he looks at me and he goes, sir, these people say that you're bothering them, that you won't get out of their way. And I go, listen to me. I go, this is a general admission show, man. I go, I paid the same price they did. They were sitting on chairs and we sat at the balcony. He goes, all right, well, he goes, but they say that you came here and you started trouble. And I go, I didn't start anything. I'm standing here. I go, I'm here to watch the concert and have a good time. That's it. And he just goes, okay, well, but they say that you got to move. And I go, I really don't have to move. I go, if you want to get a supervisor or somebody, I'll talk to him, or the manager of the venue. I go, but I'm not going anywhere. And he goes, okay. And he walks away. And then I'm still standing there. And then they go, didn't he fucking tell you to move? And I'm like, no, he didn't. And he's going to go get somebody else. Oh man, of course. Well, I guess, you want to be the rudest fucking people on earth and you want to fucking go ahead and stand in our spot. You fucking ruin a night for 10 people just because you're selfish motherfuckers. They're jawing. And now it's the dude jawing and another dude jawing and two women jawing. And again, so the bald dude then shoves in next to Jill and he's all of his fat is laying on my forearm and he's shoving and he's taking selfies, like leaning over. Mm-hmm. And then his wife goes over and she tells the two people that are standing next to us, because there's a giant post and then a couple and then Jill and I in one slot. I didn't even take a slot on the banister. I stood behind her. Mm-hmm. She goes over and she goes, here's what we're going to do. I heard her say it. Mm-hmm. She goes, I'm going to give you coats. Hold the coats up in front of their faces so they can't see the show.
What kind of...
And the woman, the other woman goes, yeah, we should just fucking, just give me my purse. I'll just fucking lean out in front of them so they can't. I'll just take selfies in their face with my flash on.
But yeah, they're gonna enjoy the show.
Well, but that's what I do. That's the thing, Dave. Now 10 people are all trying to figure out how to fuck me and Jill, instead of just going. And this is why I didn't move initially, because if they came at me so hard, if they would have just said, you know what, we came here and we thought we had this spot. Can you just slide down and let us all be together as one group, and you'll be on the end of it?
Yeah.
And I would have said, yeah, that sounds fair. But they just came at me so fucking hard when she pulled my shirt, like she fucking yanked my collar and she's like, hey, I'm just telling you, you got to move. I know. I fucking don't have to go anywhere. So we're leaning and Jill's like, you okay? And I go, I don't know how many times I can get called a motherfucker, tonight. And she goes, relax, honey. It's fine. I go, yeah. I go, it's not really fine. I go, inside of me, I'm I'm ready to fucking explode because I keep waiting. Again, I'm waiting for the explosion. I'm waiting to get punched from behind. I mean, I've lived this life. So a security dude comes up, and this is a supervisor, and this guy looks like security. He's just a pork chop in a shirt. And he's got a fucking thumb head, no neck, you know what I mean? And he walks up and he goes, "Sir, what's going on?" I said, "Listen," I go, "they got a big group. They were all sitting down. We leaned on the balcony and they told us we can't be here." And he goes, "Well, so what's the problem?" And I go, I go, "Dude, this is a general admission show. We all paid the same price. They were not on the balcony." He goes, "They said that this is their area." I go, "There's no such thing as their area." I go, "This entire building is general admission, so I paid the same price that they paid. I can go where I want." He goes, "I understand that, but you know, I'm just telling you that I don't want any problems." I go, "I don't want any problems either." I go, "It's me and my girl. We're in one spot. They have the rest of the balcony. We have one spot here." He goes, "Yeah, but you do understand that, you know, there are going to be problems if you don't leave." And I went, "Well, are you telling me that I can't be here? Because I paid the same price they did. They were sitting down. I don't think that's fair." He goes, "All right, but I just don't want to come up here and have to break up a fight." I go, "I don't want to fight either. I want to watch the show and have a good time." He goes, "Yeah, but you do know that all of them are so angry right now, there's going to be an incident." I go, "Pretty much." I go, "But you should probably be talking to them rather than me." He goes, "All right." He goes, I guess I'll keep an eye on it, but I'm just telling you now, be careful." And I go, "All right." I go, "Dude, I'm sober. I'm one guy. This is 10 drunk people. So if you want to talk to them, talk to them." He goes, "I got it." He goes, "But he goes, I'm just telling you, be ready." And he walks off. And so I lean into Jill and I go, "He basically just told me that there's going to be a problem." And she goes, "Well, there won't be a problem." And I go, "That's easy for you to say because, again, you're not the one who has to fight 5 fucking dudes." And she's like, "Well, do you want to go?" And I go, "I don't want to go. Don't you understand? But at the same time, I'm not having any joy trying to protect you from getting hit from fucking beef queens and shit like that." And again, this is just the turmoil inside of me. Because again, I started DEFCON 5 and worked my way back. I want to just diffuse the situation. I just want to have fun. That's all I wanted to fucking do. So he walks away and I turn to Jill and I'm holding her and I said, and she's like, "Well, why is he talking to us? Why isn't he talking to them?" And I go, "Well, because I'm a bouncer and it's a lot easier to ask 2 people to cooperate than 10, especially when you're just one dude." And she's like, "Well, they're wrong." And I go, "They are wrong, honey." I go, "But you know that I'm telling you they're wrong and they're drunk. So they don't understand what wrong is. So they're going to fuck with us." And she's like, "Well, what are you saying?" And I go, "Nothing. I'm fine. Let's have a good time." And then I went to hand her my car keys for the 3rd time. And she just goes, "Why are you doing this?" And I go, "Because someone's going to hit me and you're going to need them." She goes, "Just, honey, nothing's going to happen. It's fine." She gives me a kiss and I put him back in my pocket. And then Hairball takes the stage and, these 10 people pretend it's a Who concert and they storm to the balcony and they mosh us. They just smash into me. They storm up and I'm protecting Jill. She doesn't get hit, but they're hitting me in the back. They're jostling me. They're pushing me and they're fighting for position. And like I said, they opened with the who the fuck was it? Oh, Kiss, Paul Stanley. And the woman comes over and she starts telling her friends. She starts giving them the coats and the purses. And her friends just look at her and just go, "No, we're watching the show." And so they ignore her. So then she gets even more frustrated. So then she goes over and her bald fucking husband is between me and her. So Paul's singing and I'm laughing because it's fucking hysterical. And Jill's taking selfies. And this woman is yelling, "You fucking asshole, you fucking asshole, you fucking ruined this night." She won't stop yelling at me. And I can hear the band's playing, but I can hear every word. Because then, Jill can't. Luckily, she's having a good time. But I can hear this woman saying all this shit, but she's the only one. And then she gets joined. The 2 girls who shoved me, she's one of them. Then the other girl who shoved me comes up and she's behind me. And she's like, "You're a fucking dick. You're just a fucking dick." And they start yelling, "Hey, if anyone wants to see the rudest fucking people in America, they're right here fucking blocking it and ruining everything for everybody." And the thing is, I'm waiting for them to hit me, but then it's dawning on me, even their friends are getting tired of their act. They just want to watch the show and have a good time. And I'm familiar with impotent rage, and they're ruining their own night
Exactly.
by being angry at me. They're wasting all of their hate on me. So the Kiss segment stops, and then fucking "We're Not Going to Take It" starts. And then she ratchets up the abuse. The one girl starts banging the chair into my leg. because she's sitting down and she's sliding the chair back and forth into my leg with the rhythm of the drums like there. And then the fucking one who was the husband is the bald guy. She starts literally moshing the bald guy into me and Jill. She's ramming him and she's going, "We're not gonna take it. Fuck you. We're not gonna fuck it." And she's screaming it in my ear. She's singing it directly to me. And I've got Jill in the box, so she's not getting hit, and she's smiling and she's enjoying the show. And I'm getting moshed by the bald dude and the fucking wife, and the chick's banging the chair into me, and I'm just sitting there. And again, you know me. I mean, I just want to turn around and clothesline everybody in the fucking joint. But Jill is like, relax, don't worry about it. So I'm watching the show, and after We're Not Going to Take It, she finally kind of settles down, and her husband just looks at her, and you can see he finally says, "Hey,
shut up.
They're not fucking going anywhere.
Just watch the damn show."
And so then she starts to watch the show, and the chick in the chair gets up, and she starts watching the show, and Jill was right. Like, nothing happened. Nobody swung at me. Nobody hit me. I mean, they called me motherfucker and got in my face and breathed on me and yelled and grabbed my shirt and shit, but it was this weird lesson in how to handle.
Okay, finish.
And how, for me.
Yeah.
Okay. In reality, it, because again.
Well, you say reality. There's different versions of reality. This is your reality. So in your reality.
Well, I learned a lesson in not exploding right away.
Yeah.
In letting a situation play out and not waiting for the bad thing and then overreacting to a small thing and making it the bad thing.
Yeah.
Because again, in the larger picture, they yelled at me and they jostled me and they were rude, but nothing that I couldn't handle.
No, but it did affect your enjoyment of the show.
Until the show started.
See, but I even think then you can't fully be in the moment. You can't be in the moment.
I was after they stopped, after We're Not Going to Take It.
All right, yeah. Eventually everything calmed down and nothing bad happened.
Because again,
nothing. DEFCON 5 happened. I'm not going to say nothing bad happened because everything prior to that, in my opinion, is still bad.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's not.
And my stomach is doing fucking flip-flops the entire fucking time because again, I'm just waiting for one of them to punch Jill. I mean, that's literally my nightmare scenario. Because if they hit me, because again, they're bumping, dude. I white knuckled that banister the entire time to keep her from getting jostled. Yeah. But then after the third song, they finally settled down and we just laughed. We took selfies. We had a great time and we enjoyed it. We had the best time ever. So the show ends. And, like I said, 2.5 hours. And, I got my arms around Jill and I look at her, I go, all right, let's get out of here. Cause she had to work the next fucking morning and it's already like 11:30 and I take her hand and we go to walk out. And as we're leaving, the We're Not Going to Take It fucking beef queen who grabbed my shirt, she literally walks over. She follows us all the way down to the banister and down the stairs. She's like, "Oh, you fucking rude assholes. Way to ruin the fucking night for everybody, you fucking cocksuckers." And she's just swearing. And Jill didn't hear her. And we get outside and Jill's like, she's like, "See, honey, they calmed down." She goes, they even stopped yelling at us. I go, "They just yelled at us all the way out the goddamn door."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Really?" I go, "Yeah, you didn't hear her? She followed us to the stairs yelling at us." She's like, "I didn't even hear it."
Yeah, well, at that point, that's on them. Who cares?
Exactly. Yeah. But my favorite part is Jill just looks at me and she goes, "I guarantee you we're at least 4 of these people's Facebook statuses by tonight." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's how 50-year-old people handle it." There's like, "Oh, these dicks," probably taking photos of it and putting it up. But to me, it was a weird lesson in how not to explode right away. Because normally I lose my fucking mind. I'm trying not to. I don't want to. But
I think your instincts were right initially. Again, it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback in hindsight, but you got to weigh the consequences and the possibilities versus your own principles. Are you willing to stay there in the spot and take all this abuse that is going to happen because the odds are not in your favor? Is it just better to find someplace else to sit? From my perspective, as somebody who's completely non-confrontational and sees things kind of coming, I can say, you know what? This, no matter if we stay here, it's going to be worse for us, even if we get to stay here. It's better off going someplace else. And then but that's just the way I look at things.
But that was my whole instinct.
And
the
that's what
entire
I'm
time.
saying, that was a good thing, because instead of taking you took a stand, and luckily it didn't go to DEFCON 5. But what I'm saying is that you don't always have to take a stand. It's nothing having to do with your masculinity or, being chivalrous. But there's times when you got to see the battle or see the whole war and not just the battle.
Well, I agree with you, and that's how I felt. That's why I was willing to retreat. That
would have been the
and find a different place to avoid all of it,
because it doesn't work out for anybody.
Right. But it turns out Jill's instinct was correct, where she said,
they're not going to do it.
These people aren't going to do anything.
But they did. See,
yeah, but
she might have been cocooned in that situation, but to me, having to sit and paying money to watch a show and having women swearing at you the whole time and bumping you, to me, that's not a victory. That's just that you're stronger than I am. You have a thicker skin than I do, because I wouldn't even put up with that.
Well, the only reason I had the thicker skin was because of Jill.
But my point is,
if I'm alone or if I'm with dudes, I mean, forget about it. Everybody's getting, just bodies are flying off the balcony at that fucking point. But again, here's another thing. Out of the 10 people, it was only 4 people who were belligerent to us, and 3 of them were women. So that puts me in a terrible position, because there's nothing I can do to women. They can yell at me and scream at me and shove at me and push their finger in my chest, and I can go, all right, well, this is happening. You know what I mean? And turn around and watch the fucking show.
Because of the crazy things you've done and the bouncer jobs you've had and all the ridiculous things you've been through, your skin is thicker. So maybe you look at that evening as a victory, but to me, the fact of having to put up with verbal abuse and people being ignorant to each other and bumping you and, yelling at you, to me, that's not, I don't want any part of that. But that's part of you're saying, hey, I didn't punch a bunch of people. And I'm saying, maybe you don't.
It's not even, it's not even the punching thing. It's that I waited.
Yeah.
And it worked. Because normally, me, I would have fucking flown off the handle right at the jump.
Okay,
that bald dude would have gotten in my face. I would have gone, hey, put your fucking woman on a leash and get her the fuck out of here. And nobody puts their hands on me. And, and that's kind of where my mindset was when I'm trying to give Jill the keys. Because I'm like, and honestly, I think she made me hold the keys so I wouldn't hit anybody. Because as long as I knew I had the keys, I couldn't go to jail. You know what I mean? So I knew because that would leave her in the fucking lurch.
Yeah, I mean, that's being, that's preparing for something. The problem is when you get into what's called fortune telling or mind reading, like you think you know what's going to happen, or you can predict what somebody else is going to do. When you start thinking like that, you're out of yourself. You're not in the moment. You're not truly enjoying the show. I personally think you and Jill would have enjoyed the show perfectly, had a great time if you just moved at the beginning, because you can see how the play is going to go, and it's not worth it. It's not worth taking that stand right there.
Yeah.
Because the way you always say, I was talking earlier about fight or flight. Being in a fight, nobody wants that. But if your principles are, the only way I'm going to be in a fight, if somebody bumps my, hurts my kids or does something to my wife, then it doesn't matter if I get the shit kicked out of me by 5 dudes. It's worth it.
Yeah.
But, as long as you don't cross that line, there's no reason to ever be in a fight. Nobody gets in a fight unless they want to.
Yeah.
That's just the way it works. It's what are you willing to accept? What are you willing to kind of shy away from or walk away from? The other night, I took Val, this is about 2 weeks ago, my uncle gave me his Hawks tickets, Blackhawks tickets. So I took Val, he had 2 tickets, and we were all the way up.
Well, let me ask you this before you even get into that.
Sure.
Did you ever have an ounce of hesitation of, I'm not sure I want to go there because bad things might happen?
I don't want to go there because I don't like the idea of the general public.
That's what I'm saying.
But I don't take it into specifics. Something bad's going to happen. I don't do that anymore. I used to.
I see.
I don't do it anymore. And so now I'm saying it's worth me dealing with social anxiety and being in big crowds of people so my son can enjoy his first hockey game. So we go there and we're having a great time. It's fun. We're at the top. My uncle has really good tickets, but they're at the very end of the balcony, So you're backed up to the wall.
Okay.
2 seats over is a Minnesota Wild fan, and he's your typical, Napoleon complex dude.
Ugh.
And he's 5'5". He's got that goofy piercing in his ear where it's real round.
Gauge.
Yeah, and his wife weighs like 3 times his size. His
Right.
girlfriend.
Okay.
And I can tell right now, it's 2 seats over. There's a couple next to me, and then these people. And it's all Blackhawk fans that all know each other because they all have season tickets. We're a guest of my uncle. And this guy from the get-go is F-bombing this every time. He's just being ignorant. There's a way to be from another team, and it's fun.
Of course.
There's a give and take. And
I've
people
talked about
bust
that on
each-
the show.
There's nothing better than being with fans who are cool from the other team, and they know how to bust balls. They know how to tease each other, and it never gets personal. It never gets physical. But this guy is an idiot. And the guy next to me is a dad, like a big, heavy-set dad. He's a big guy, but he's a dad. He's got glasses and a shaggy hair, and he's getting mad because this guy is swearing left and right. And there's little kids in front of us. Val's not a little kid, but he's actually, Val's closer to this guy than me. He's sitting next to the couple, and all of a sudden they start jawing at each other, and it's literally right here, a foot away from me. So, like you said, the switch gets turned on, and I start seeing the situation. All right, there's going to be a fight here. What do I do? Because this dad is probably all talk right now. He's not going to be able to handle this guy. So I literally grabbed Val. I didn't think I did, but apparently I grabbed him by his shoulders, and I literally moved him to the other side of me. And the best part is there was a couple on a date. The girlfriend instinctively took Val and put him on their side. So he's completely moved out of the way. Because
Wow.
I thought,
The whole
Here
row
we
is going to
go.
collapse. Yeah.
here we go, because if this guy takes the dad out, I'm the only one that's in a position to do anything about it, because everybody else is in other rows. They'd have to climb over seats,
Sure.
and his fat girlfriend is on the other side of him. But it was about to get physical, and the girlfriend started holding the boyfriend back, which was really funny because she outweighs him by like 3. I was like, I turned to the lady next to me. I go, I'm actually more afraid of the girlfriend. And luckily, Blackhawk security was up there.
Yeah.
And they threw him out. And they didn't play around. They didn't sit and they didn't ask what's going on. They just threw him out.
See you later.
And of course, Blackhawk fans are going crazy. And then I realized, I never gave a thought of predicting and getting myself worked up.
Right.
I didn't get worked up. I saw the situation happen. I got my kid out of the way, and I said, if this line gets crossed, I will react, because that's a stand I'm willing to take. I'm not going to let anything happen to Val. I'm not going to let him get beer thrown on him or accidentally bumped or punched. So, but it didn't,
Mm-hmm.
and but the second it was over, I was able to calm back down, and I enjoyed the rest of the game. We had a really funny story. Now, 10 years ago, I would have been looking at this. I might have been the guy that told this guy to shut up.
Right.
But I didn't, because it had nothing to do with me. Let somebody else deal with him. So it's like I was able to enjoy myself. And that's what I mean about being in the moment. I was in the moment. I didn't get caught up in the what ifs. And even though it did kind of explode, it never really affected me.
But that's why I say what happened was a good lesson for me
In
to
a
not
way,
explode
yes.
and not because, like I said, I operate from the worst possible thing is about to happen, and then I
Yeah.
go backwards and hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
So
Which is it's a fine line between predicting trouble and always thinking trouble's around you, and just being a smart guy or aware of your surroundings. There's a fine line between that.
yeah, but the whole time, because they're pushing and shoving and they're jawing and things are happening, and and that's the kind of stuff that happens to regular people. That's the kind of stuff
Yeah.
that happens, and that's the kind of stuff that happens. I wish I could say, because it happens to me. That's
You
the thing is,
don't. You don't have the normal things happen to you. You have schlep rock things. You have crazy shit that happens to you.
right? and
Only you.
Exactly. And I'm just waiting for the day when you think, they're chaos, you think someone's going to start a fight, or some beef queen's going to grab a guy's shirt, and you think to yourself, well, who's that going to happen to? I'm waiting and hoping for the day that everybody out there goes, not Mike. You guys can get me at MikeSchmidtComedy.com, or sorry, Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy. Not Mike. You guys can get me at Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can be my friend at Facebook.com/the40-year-old boy. You can find me at Twitter.com/the40-year-old boy. Our friend David Hernandez does all the artwork for this show. Thank you, David, for being on today and helping me and letting me come
Was
to your
I
house.
on?
You were? Oh, you were so on.
Dude, I listened really well.
You can go to Facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez and be his friend there. But if you want him to do artwork for you, either if you want to buy a Guycon or a Valscape, or if you'd like him to do some personalized artwork for you, you can find him at artbydmh.com. That's ARTBYDMH.com. Find him there, contact him. He'll take care of business for you. He'll paint you using Dunkin' Donuts coffee. He'll paint you whatever you want because he's got plenty of it.
Yeah, and there was a hole, I think, in the cup you got me because it kept spilling every time I...
There's a hole in the cup there, dear Liza. Dear Liza.
Liza.
There's a hole in the cup there, dear Liza. A hole. Ryan Dirks does all of the website for this show, all the web stuff. Get him at Facebook.com/Ryan Dirks. And of course, Lily Von Stupp, who is not here this week and has not been here for a while. She's very busy. She got all sorts of stuff, and I'm traveling. She's we're at never the twain shall meet, and she and I are at the twain. But if you want to find her, you can go to Facebook.com/Lily Von Stupp and look around at her page. She's all full up of friends, but you can gander at everything that she posts. You can follow her at several different Twitter accounts, Twitter.com/Lily Von Stupp, Twitter.com/MNTs, Twitter.com/HollywoodBQFest, and Twitter.com/Boobdini. But if you'd like to write her a personal note, and you know what, with sight unseen, if you just want to write her a note and say, man, your fucking new haircut is awesome, you can write her at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com. About the movie. I sat there and I watched unbelievable actors do tough guy stuff in front of me. It was exactly what I needed to see. Not even what I wanted to see, it's what I needed to see, because it was proving to me that there was someone out there who made things that I wanted. And that was the best part of the entire experience. I thought someone made something exclusively for me. I fucking loved that.
Well, you started out with nothing, and private, you're a self-made man. I got
Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 Clubs on Vine at Santa Monica. I don't know what that was just a second ago. I'm not sure what played, because as it's me recording with Dave, maybe he'll do something new for you guys, or maybe it's a...
Because I got that kind of time.
Well, that's what he does. So, not me. Go to the Monday Night Teas is every Monday night at the 3 Clubs on Vine at Santa Monica. You can go ahead and check out facebook.com/Monday Night Teas for all of the acts that are coming to town. Hey, if you want to go to patreon.com/Lily, Lili, you can go ahead and help support Lily and all of our artistic endeavors. She'd appreciate it. So would we. And as I mentioned, the Monday Night Teas is on facebook.com/Monday Night Teas. Brown Paper Tickets is where the tickets are. Go ahead and buy tickets to all of those cool shows, including April 18th. That's next Monday. Is it this Monday? Next Monday. It's the 2020 comedy show. I'm going to be there along with Marie Valeriano from the Road Stories podcast and Jackie Cation from the Dork Forest podcast. Amazing talents, wonderful artists, and they're going to be joining me April 18th, Monday night, 7 o'clock at the 3 Clubs on Vine at Santa Monica, 2020. Tell your friends. The Gold Star link, the tickets are only $5. You can find that on my Facebook page. I'll also Twitter it out. You can follow me at those places I told you about earlier and get those links and have that cool stuff happen. If you go to our MikeSchmidtComedy.com site, you can go to the Joe Business page. All sorts of cool stuff for sale. Downloads. Year 1 through 7 of this show individually or together as the 7 Deadly Schmidts box set. We've got live stuff. We've got Stop Making Schmidt, which was the 2015 Podfest. We've got Schmidt Alive 2. We've got Schmitty Comes Alive. Those are all live shows. We've got the Big Angry CD, which I will personally autograph for you if you purchase it from me.
Yay.
Although it is also available in streaming on, I think it's on Spotify, but it's also streaming and iTunes, all that kind of stuff. And also, remember, Never Not Funny Year 1 is available. I get paid for that, so why not go fucking buy that?
Sweet.
Hear what happened when I used to sit in a room with other people besides Dave. There's the, of course, we've got the Heroes album, David Hernandez's Heroes album, free with a $7 donation to the show.
Or cardboard.
Yeah, we've gone cardboard.
We've gone cardboard.
Actually, there's a hole in the cardboard, and I don't like the cup, so...
Yes.
But Dave did all of his tribute album stuff and amazing tributes to artists that shaped an artist. Please pick up the Heroes album by David Hernandez. Also, Word Pimp Schmitty and the Misanthropic Gangster.
That's got Vascular and Yoked on it, doesn't it?
It does indeed. That's music from the 40-Year-Old Boy podcast, available now with a $7 donation to the show. Thank you so much for all of the people who have stepped up and purchased that.
It's pretty cool.
It's great. So get it and jam in your car to all of our music.
Because it's got one of the only doo-wop Satan songs ever.
I'm going to say the only.
It might be the only satanic doo-wop song ever written.
And I'm going to go ahead and say this to all of you right now, as a matter of fact, that I can guarantee this for you. If you've ever wanted to just listen to the show and not have me talking, get Word Pimp Gangster and the
Word Pimp Gangster and the Melancholy Schmitty.
Yeah.
What's it?
If you ever listen to the show and said, this show would be a lot better if he wasn't talking and we only had to hear those songs.
I don't know, man. We've only been cardboard,
Well,
so maybe they hate both of us.
Nobody hates anything.
All right.
Shirts are available. Dirt shirts are always available. And
Mystery shirt.
not only mystery shirts. So I love the people who bought them. Thank you so much.
You
And
people are
there are a
Jesus.
couple of those available still. And also, but I'll throw this out there, tweakedaudio.com. We still have a deal with them. I don't have a link on the webpage anymore, but apparently they just sent me some money. So somebody went ahead and bought some stuff and used my code. So
If you fix the website.
if you go to tweakedaudio.com / I believe it's 40YOB, and you can use that. There's a little page in there with a little Schmitty, and you can buy some stuff, and everything's great, and we get paid for that, which is neat. And also, more importantly, our Amazon link is always available. Go ahead and buy stuff through that. We get a taste of it. You get stuff. Amazon gets money, and we get a little piece. We're going to bust out a bowling alley later, too, all of us together. That'll be fun. But use the Amazon link. That's great. Is there anything else on the page I missed? I think I got it all.
I don't know.
There's live stuff. There's So I'm babbling now because I don't remember exactly off the top of my head.
Well, I'm only really interested in the albums being sold.
Really?
Well, kind of.
What if I offered a bowl of steaks?
I'd rather have a bowl of steak.
Oh, fuck that.
I like your style, dude.
So there, all that stuff's available at the Joe Business page at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. Go ahead and check it out. Buy it. It's cool. Come see me live on April 18th, Monday night, 2020.
Yeah, you said that part.
Murray and Jackie and Murray are going to be a great show. And you know, it's funny because they're the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this past week.
Yeah.
And then NWA got inducted. And then they said mean things about Gene Simmons.
Oh, Gene said him first.
Well, Gene said shitty things about rap. He was waiting for the death of rap.
Yeah.
And then Ice Cube was like, hey, Gene Simmons' rap isn't going anywhere. And then Gene Simmons, of course, had to respond because he's a dumb fuck. Because that's what he does. You think these guys would mellow out in their old age? You know what I mean? But no, like all
I
they just,
invented rap.
yeah, he's like, yeah. Once you invent Jimmy, you got to say, because I can't do Gene's voice. Once you put Jimi Hendrix in the Rap Hall of Fame, then we'll talk. That was his response to Ice Cube. Yeah. And it's like, you are just a jagoff, man. Again,
The Beatles invented rap. It was 20 years ago today.
I've forwarded that theory on this show. But you would think that Kiss would just fucking mellow out. Like, why don't they? I mean, is it because you think the rest of them they got to be calm because they don't ever fight with anybody, right? It's just Gene who's being a jagoff.
Did I tell you what I did? What I invented over the weekend?
No.
I invented this character because the Pat Francis Paul Stanley is so awesome.
People.
We're just
it's
doing
the
that.
fucking
We're
best.
doing his version of it. But I thought it'd be better. I invented this guy called his name is Mellow Paul Stanley, and he sings all the Kiss songs, but he sings them an octave lower, like he's in his car. You know,
So
you know what I mean? He's like, I know a thing or two about her. Just kind of hums. She'll always make you cry.
So he's not like, yeah, that's Paul.
Kinda like Kip
So that could
from
even actually be Paul. Like, really, when you
Yeah,
think about it, just, like, do you ever think Paul's in his own car and he's just kind of singing the lyrics?
Shout it out loud.
Yeah, instead of him. Dude.
Well, the night is done.
And you want some fun?
Yeah,
you
that's better.
think I'm gonna find it?
Think you're gonna find it.
You've got to treat yourself like number one. Do you need to be reminded? And then
It doesn't matter what,
Mellow
you,
Gene, dude. Oh, Mellow Gene is
what
awesome.
you do or say is just as was it? I forgot the
Forget
words.
the things that you've
Forget
been-
the things that you've been told. You can't do it any other way. Everybody's got to rock and roll.
You know, here's how I think of it. Gene's sick of doing Shout It Out Loud. Okay, he doesn't want to do that song on stage anymore. So they're on the tour bus, and Paul won't take it off the set list, and they have a huge argument. And Paul's just like, no, fuck it. So then they're after the fight ends, they each go to their respective bunks, and it's just dark. It's just dark on the bus, and they're in. It's literally no, you can't see anything. Yeah. Tommy and fucking Eric are sleeping in the back, of course, but Paul and Gene are in their sleeper bunks, and it's completely dark. And then you just hear. It doesn't matter what you do or say, just forget the things that you've been told.
We can't do it any other way. Everybody's got to rock and roll. Whoa, whoa,
Whoa. Shout it, shout it, shout it out loud.
You've got to have a party.
Shout it, shout it, shout it out loud. Turn it up louder.
Or do you think that's how they wrote the song?
Oh, they're
They
just
were
sitting
having
at
a
table?
sleepover?
Sleepover. Dude, they have the fucking like leather footy pajamas on.
Yeah,
dude,
it's
that
back in like '76. They're having a sleepover, and they right there humming the words out to that song.
I feel uptight on Saturday night.
Yeah, that's good.
9 o'clock. The radio's the only light. You know, Mex always says people skip the closing music. I say people love your closing music, so let's prove it to them. If you've listened this far, write me at heymexilistened@gmail.com, and we'll send you a 40-year-old boy hearing commemorative Facebook profile picture that you better fucking put up, you dick. Sorry about the dick thing. Thing. Did you get that?
Yeah, I got it.
I don't want you to miss any of that brilliance.